Oh, fucking intro. Who needs one? Am I right? People, folks, ladies and gentlemen. How are we doing? How are we doing? I'm doing good. It is, what day is it? It's June 11th. And I'm very fucking tired, but we will certainly have a stream. It's gonna be a shorter one because I have a lot to do later. But it's been a boring day. Oh shit, I forgot to take the thing off. Yeah, it's been incredibly boring. Nothing ever happens. Nothing ever happens. But yeah, we've got so this like fucking lawsuit shit's kicking off. We've got I mean I know you guys are so sick of me relitigating my own drama, and trust me, I'm sick of it too at this point. But apparently Beckett from Cope and Seethe did like a call out segment or something about me on stream. So I'm really not gonna have much of a choice, am I? But to relitigate it, right? What else would I fucking talk about? Somebody made apparently it's so retarded. Somebody made like a 2-hour like documentary on Goat Cato apparently as well. This is what I'm hearing. Yeah, I don't know what that's about. Anyways. So to get us started here, and people actually put stuff in inbox this time. I saw this. Have you seen I've been timestamping? Yeah, that's much appreciated. Thanks. Much appreciated. So I saw this. Let me. At Neo Cheddar, I saw Aiden wanted to debate me. Set it up, you schizo freak. Dan, you can DM me. I mean, I think he has me added. Debate you about what? If suing out is good. Well, I accept. I'll get it in for this weekend. It's not going to be tomorrow because I'm going to be too busy all the. I'll probably go live at the end of the day, but I'm not going to be. I don't want to like. I want this to be a prepared like debate. So I think if he's down, I'll go for like Saturday or Sunday. The screenshot does look fake. I got sent a different version. But no, this screenshot is real because I saw the other version of it. To get us started, I guess. Well, where should we start? Should we go to the Ethan stuff? Should we go to Wick? Should we go to... There's just so much to pick from, isn't there? Well, I don't know why the name... It's just whoever sent this screenshot. This guy called Unhinged Schizo Freak in my server. I'm loving... I'm really loving some of the new regulars we've gotten in the wake of this drama. Like Unhinged Schizo Freak. Much appreciated. Pick what interests you. Oh, nothing fucking interests me today. Yeah, we could do Beckett. All right. Well, okay. Yeah, we'll do the Beckett segment. Okay, so I got sent this. $2 from Balls Mahone. Be wary of Dan's Zionist powers. Well, I'm a J-boy, so I'm immune to it. Sure, happy to comment. I did talk. Why are people replying to? I love how like. Okay, the Aiden drama exposed. Dickers TV and Beckett called out. I had a private conversation with Dickers yesterday. There were certain things that did not get like fully resolved. But I know I had a lot of shit to talk on stream. I will say after speaking with him in private, I do think he's been engaging honestly. Even though I happen to disagree with his descriptor or whatever, I think Dickers is being honest. I cannot say the same for Beckett. I gotta be honest with you. I cannot say the same for Beckett. Let's take a look at these clips that he's responding to. I'm sure it's clipped in good faith.
My I asked for this. Even when I say to give it to a third party, he can't give it to a third.
On my fucking audios. Dickers disagrees with you and agrees with me. Dickers doesn't think I was being serious. And wait, why? Dude, what? Holy reaction. Okay. All right. Let's get into it, guys. Let's get into it. And then can Dickers react to the clip that we're gonna make now? So, Dickers, I'm leaving room. I'll leave room for Dickers in the bottom corner. Morale, you can go on the left. You can move your cat to the left. And I think there will be room. Jimmy has room in the middle. Okay, so Jimmy's room, like, we'll leave somewhere in the middle there. In that call, Dickers was in the room with me physically when I was making those jokes, and the two of us met up the next night. Yeah, so this was about the clips of that one ICVC. It was never, except from Chud, who was trying to be performative, it was never a criticism at the time that I was being serious in that VC. Everybody knew I was joking, Dickers included, because Dickers could see the fucking smile on my face while I was talking, right? At no point did anyone who was involved ever think I was being serious, because they had an understanding of the in-group shock humor that was just frequent in the chat at that point in time. This was never a serious claim. It was only until, Chud sort of insinuated it, and then DGG came back and started focusing on that aspect, as people like Denal were emphasizing it, and Wick apparently admitted to some woman in DMs that he also knew that I was joking, but tactically pretended like it was serious, which I think is like a little bit fucked, I gotta be honest with you. That's right, I haven't argued with them about this. In regards to Dickers, he's the only one in the group, he's the only one in like out of the main critics that has not walked back that claim specifically, and I literally refuted all of his reasoning for it last. Yeah, so I would revise this statement. Chud hasn't either, but that's because I haven't pushed Chud on it. He doesn't care. I haven't spoken to Chud in forever, so technically, not everyone, but everyone who cares. Everyone who cares. Chud hasn't stood by it either. Chud just isn't talking about this, obviously. Last night. It's not gonna matter what he like, unless he's like your authority on everything, right? That's not really gonna be, why would that be relevant for your determination? The Chud bridge is, no, I like Chud. I like Chud. Was I happy with some of the way he handled the coverage, pertaining to? Obviously not, right? But I like Chud. I have criticisms of him. I have criticisms of, you know, sort of what seems to be like his battle selection and when he chooses to, you know, step out of the ring. But I still like him. We just don't talk. Chud, Logic, and Dickers did not. Yes, Dickers is the only one that hasn't walked it back, right? I was also informed that Beckett did not do so. That's not true. I spoke to Beckett for 2 hours, and he said I could tell everybody, which happened. Which happened. My question is Beckett going to dispute that happened? At which point, I'll then show my hand. But I'm not, if he's not denying that, then I don't need to show my hand. That he doesn't stand by the doxing claim. Is he disputing that now? Because if he is, then I can... Chud, if Dickers actually, which he press him on this, if Dickers thought I was noting serious intent to go kill somebody. Oh, and Dickers said, after speaking to him in private, by the way, I don't know if he said it on today's stream, but he said to me unequivocally that he's never thought I was being serious during those statements, and he would make a statement on stream if people actually were under the interpretation that I was being serious in that, like, VC, with, like, the, that is just, like, missing a fuck ton of context, but... He literally, I don't know if he ended up making that statement today on stream, but he said he would do that. Why would he go and meet up with me the next night? His claim, his incorrect claim, is that what I did was doxing, not that I was being serious in the call, right? That's what my disagreement with Dickers is about, not if what I was saying was jokes or not, right? Okay, so let's see Beckett's response. Sure, happy to comment. I did talk to Aiden about this like a month ago. I didn't record the call, but to my recollection, I agreed it would be more appropriate to say it was spreading docs info. It's not even that. It's not even that. So here's what happened. I never believed when I obviously I wasn't thinking about it a whole lot. I did one Google search and I was like drunk or whatever, right? And that was the first result. But I never for a second thought that I was doxing somebody, right? I wouldn't commit like reputational, like in the moment, right? But when I realized, I thought for a second, wait, he didn't give out her first name? Because I thought, just like all the other info Lio gives out, there's like, I watched what? I sat through like tons, hours upon hours upon hours upon hours of leaked calls, call-ins, VODs, etc. when we were covering this guy. Some of the streams went on for over 12 hours. So there was a lot of generally accepted pieces of information that, I wouldn't be able to tell you where specifically it came from. Like, we all know that he gives his address out, but if you were to press me on it right now, I wouldn't be able to give you the specific call or remember the specific VOD that occurred. It's just like general knowledge where you don't particularly remember specifically where it came from. But I was of the belief, because I don't look at his Kiwi Farms thread or whatever, and because I knew it, I was of the belief that his wife's first name was public. And apparently, right afterwards, I thought it wasn't. And that's when there was like a, oh shit moment, like, in my head when like people were pressing me on it, in the aftermath. But in the months since, after like tracing where each piece of information came from, it was his wife on her, and this is not like a case of, oh, her Facebook account is technically public, and I then went, and I'm like digging and I'm using the cope of, oh, it's already public. No, his wife's Facebook account is public, but that would still be doxing if I was to go and publicize, in and of itself, the information on there. The reason it's not doxing is because on that public Facebook account, she identifies herself as his wife, right? Posts about his trolls on YouTube, using his official YouTube Facebook. He's commenting under her stuff. She's liking his and commenting under his. They're both interacting with one another on the respective accounts. In addition to that, he's given out her last name, their shared address, etc. And after Gilded Poo showed photos from the Facebook in a 20,000 view YouTube video, the account's still up. And the reason it's still up is because they've never considered this dox info. He only pretended he did because a vocal critic of his came out about it. Or he couldn't address my criticisms, so he finally found something he could engage with and morally postured and pretended like he considered his wife's info docs. He didn't. We found that he's interacting with her Facebook on his YouTube associated Facebook in public. We found that he's giving out their address. He's giving out her occupation. He's giving out her age. He's identifying photos of her publicly because per him, he's an open book. And per her, she's consenting to that association because she's choosing to interact with her public Facebook. And that's why years ago, they were able to find this, they used it against him, and no efforts were made to obscure it at that point in time. Now, Beckett knew all of this. Beckett knew that Vlad had disseminated photos of Lio's face in a video of 20,000 views. Beckett knew that Kumo shared a photo of Lio's wife's face, and that Lio, for no reason, went on stream and said, that's my wife. He knew this, but this never came up at the time in the course of my drama. It never came up. I had to find this out through one of my own people. After the fact, I generally knew that all of this was like, I assumed if I knew it, it was all public. I know he gives out everything. I just wouldn't have been able to tell you specifically where each specific thing came from. And they come to me and they say, somebody comes to me and tells me that Vlad, who was being a vocal critic of mine at that point in time, was disseminating this in a video with 20,000 fucking views. Right? Like, when was that going to come into play? Why did I have to find that out through one of like my own fans? Why didn't they bring this up at the time? But no, it wouldn't be doxing, because what were the three pieces of info I was accused of sharing? I was accused of sharing her face, right? Because I posted photos of her in Icy or whatever that night that were up for a little bit. right? I was accused of doxing her face. I was accused of doxing her workplace, which I've always disputed. But let's even say for a minute that that happened, right? And her name. Well, those three pieces of info are all listed on her public Facebook that her and Lio associate each other with publicly. She identifies herself as like Thomas's wife, makes posts like his comments talking about his trolls that he's commenting under, arguing with people under. This has all been publicized already, and I didn't realize it at the time. And because I didn't look at their Kiwi Farms thread when I was trying to trace where things came from in the aftermath, even Kiwi Farms was saying he's given this all out. Like, they've given this all out themselves. This isn't doxing, right? But then someone else comes in and is like, no. He was like giving out new stuff, like her phone number or something. So they all thought, they were all under the impression that I'd given out info that wasn't already given out by Lio and his wife. That was never the claim. The claim was always workplace name face, which isn't. She gave out herself and associated Lio herself publicly, and he associated back with her publicly, right? Would somebody who considers his wife information docs, would he give out their shared address? Would he identify photos of her publicly? When he knows that her public Facebook account has been discovered or whatever by his people that are linked to his online presence, would he engage with that account publicly? No, because he's never considered it dox. It was only when somebody reposted it for the 900th time, the info that they publicly provided to everyone, that then all of a sudden warped into a dox, right? Anyways. Beware of Dan Zionist. I already read that. Will Smith the 2. The more you bring this up, the less I believe you. That's really sound. That's great logic, Will. That's real. That's how you, unironically, yes. Okay. The validity of an argument is determined. The validity of an argument is determined by how much you hear it. What's the bombshell? That Lio's publicly commenting under and interacting with his wife's public Facebook account on his YouTube linked Facebook. Like, the connection was created by him. He identified her Facebook, her public Facebook, that had her work, her name, etc. listed on it. But that's besides the point, right? So the claim always changes. At first it was, I doxed her name, her face, and her workplace. We find out she gives all of that out herself while their accounts are publicly linked through both of their mutual consent, right? The claim was, I released those three pieces of info. I've refuted that now. So then the claim became, like when I went on Wick, that it was her phone number now, which nobody said at the time. And I feel like if that happened, somebody almost certainly, of the fucking 500 people calling me out, that would have been a claim made at the time. It wasn't. What's the breaking news? What breaking news? But anyways, so then the claim has now warped into, oh, I was being serious with the jokes. Because it's literally, there is no condition or possible way to win when the goalpost constantly moves and it just like completely contradicts previous criticisms. Like, people will sit there and tell you now, oh, well, he's refuted the doxing point, but it was never about the doxing. You go back to their tweets from at the time, that's the only thing it was about. So I don't know what the fuck they're talking about. Aiden, I need to finish my paper. Why'd you call him the Dickers? I wasn't calling into his stream. I didn't know he was live. I was showing him proof that Lio was publicly interacting with his wife's account on his YouTube linked account, right? Can you cover the warehouse fire in Tracy? It's okay that Aiden said he was going to kill her because... Okay, so now we're going to go back to the... Okay, So refute the dox claim goes back to the joke. Refute the joke goes back to the dox claim. Refute the dox claim goes back to the joke, over and over again. Yes, it is completely okay to make shocking jokes in private if everybody in the audience understands that you're joking, which they did. That's why everyone who was present has attested to the fact that I was joking. Nobody took it seriously. The joke? Yes. Yes. You think... What? You think... If you thought I was being serious... If anybody who was criticizing me actually thought I was being serious, why didn't anyone report me to the police? Why didn't anyone report me to the police? If you actually believed that I was going to go assault a woman and you knew about it and you never chose to report me to the police, what does that say about you? What does that say about you? I didn't know about it. Well, guess what? Everyone there did. Nobody said or did anything about it because everyone knew it was a joke. Anyways, so let's read his argument. I didn't record the call, but to my recollection, I agreed it would be more appropriate to say it was spreading dox info. My issues with Aiden during the whole thing has more to do with targeting Lios. How did I target her exactly? These were in private. There were jokes made about her in private and info that she's publicly given out, and not like given out on some account unlinked to Lio, publicly given out on her account. I made jokes about her in private and reposted info in private. It's a dick move. But how was I targeting her? If I was targeting her, I would have done it in a forum she could see it, right? My positions, my issues with Aiden during that whole thing has more to do with targeting Lio's wife and how obsessive he became on the topic. Honestly, Beckett, go fuck yourself, dude. It's actually insane. It's unironically crazy that, like, people were just exaggerated and lied in, like, a way that was completely damning to my character. And it was the biggest drama of my 9 years on here, right? The biggest drama that I've faced. And you're just gonna use the fact that I care about, like, no shit I'm gonna care about it. Obviously I'm gonna care about it. Obviously I'm gonna want the record corrected. What are you talking about? If you're fucking lying about me, which you did, by the way, Beckett claimed that I had he didn't even just claim that I had spread this info, he claimed I originated it, which he knew wasn't true. He knew at the time of saying that it wasn't true. Such a fucking lie. But holy shit, like, yeah, I'm only obsessed because you can't drop this fucking lie. Yes. You were acting crazy, not gonna lie. Yes, out of character, right? Going a little too far. Yeah. I wonder why that was. I have no clue. Beats me. Alcohol doesn't cause behavior, it just releases what you've been holding. That's true. And I believe that it's okay to make shocking jokes where I know that nobody's going to be around. Nobody who would be hurt by those jokes is going to be around, right? So my inhibitions are lowered. So what that does is I make really off-color jokes, but I still understand that nobody's being hurt by it because I don't have any intention to hurt anybody. Why were you acting so inebriated? Because I was fucking drunk. I was literally drunk. It's probably why. That might be just, I'm sorry. I'm not trying to use alcohol I'll use alcohol as an excuse for why I was drunk. Yes. Probably shouldn't have recorded it. I didn't record it, did I? Anyways. My issues with Aiden during that whole thing, has more to do with targeting Lia's wife and how obsessive he became on the topic. I've had that position publicly and privately for the past 6 months. Message from April with my general feelings. I'm obviously someone who believes people can reform and move past stuff. No shit. Yeah, guys, I need to go through the 12-step process to reform for making really fucking mean jokes about some woman. Yes. No, it was wrong. Don't make no mistake about it, right? Make no mistake about it. It was wrong. Do not get me wrong. I spent 6 months self-flagellating talking about how wrong it was. But this was not something that, this was not such a wrong where we need to start talking about the possibilities for redemption and reform, etc. I made bad choices while inebriated, right? It's not gonna happen again. It hasn't happened again, and it never happened before, right? No shit. You're acting like I'm a fucking sex offender. Thank you, Martin, with the 5. Lyo's wife was just a potential victim of your kind's blood libel. It wouldn't surprise me if you and Dan were in collusion with one another. Admit it. I have been in collusion with Dan on certain things. I was in collusion with Dan when Dan leaked the shit about Parry to me, about Parry reaching out to him. I was colluding with Dan on that. Thank you for the 5, Starfish. People forget Aiden was also dying from the gas fumes at Dicker's house. True. I stopped covering Lyo well before the drama, or it was a few weeks before the drama, because I just ran out of shit to cover. I didn't believe this guy was gonna change. It's like really gay to sit there and try to look for anything that's kind of like the past behavior. It's like, I'll cover him if he does something bad again. But if I'm wrong, and I want to be wrong, and he has changed, I won't have anything to cover, will I? I'm not going to force the coverage there anymore. My issues with Aiden during the whole thing is more to do with targeting Lyo's wife and how obsessive he became on the topic. So Beckett has done this, it's obfuscation. So Beckett really wants you to think that the drunken night I had was a part of my coverage, because he needs to make it look like there was something problematic with the coverage. Everybody criticizing me at the time said there wasn't, except for Chad, who always finds the optics angles. It's so gay, right? But the coverage was fine. The coverage was extensive. Lyo was my personal lolcow. I was A-logging the fuck out of him, but I've done it to other people. Nobody complained when I was doing it to a Cheeto. Except a Cheeto. Nobody complained when I was doing it to, I've done this to other people before. The only problem here is that I got drunk and said what I said, and then that got leaked, right? That's the problem, not the coverage itself. My criticisms of him still remain. I can defend and substantiate all of them. What you have to know about Beckett is that Beckett is Lyo's biggest sweeper. Beckett and Lyo are practically in bed together. I've never seen one guy go this hard for another man if the two of them weren't fucking. Okay, so I don't know if he just got after Stardust, he was getting a little bit, he got lonely or whatever, and now he's been left with this. I'm not sure, but it is totally bizarre to me. I'm obviously someone who believes people can reform. Okay, anyways. Ultimately, in my humble opinion, targeting a family member who isn't even part of the... Targeting her with what? Jokes? Yeah, it was a dick move, but... Worse than doxing? Huh? So, okay. Got it. So now that I've dismantled him on the doxing point, and he cannot defend it anymore, and I gave him the grace of assuming he wasn't lying by omission when he completely left out the exonerating details as to why it wasn't doxing upon his initial coverage, now we've pivoted to the DGG talking point of utilizing the jokes, and he's claiming that that is actually worse than doxing. What? Doxing makes people's information available for real-world harassment, real-world interference, for interfering with career advancement, swatting, all that bad shit, right? You're making information available to bad faith or to malicious actors who might have otherwise previously had been unable to obtain it, right? That would be that's the negatives of doxing. That's something I agree with. I can probably agree with Destiny on a little bit, right? Joking about somebody in private with people who regularly make shock humor in a context where everybody knows that you were joking, right, is not even close to being as bad as doxing. What are you talking about? I mean, they are literally acting like because I made a joke about killing her or gangbanging some dude's wife, because I was making a bunch of jokes about like her being a whore and shit. They were acting like I actually like these people don't understand that joking about something doesn't mean that thing's actually happening. Just like so you know, like I don't know if Beckett like I honestly I don't know. Ultimately, in my humble opinion, targeting family members and part of this online shit is actually worse than doxing. Generally speaking, Aiden doesn't contest that this is what he did. The targeting part, I contest this wording. I do contest this wording. I contest this wording. What I apologize for is the fact that I was stupid enough to make jokes like, if you are gonna make jokes like that, right? And I think those jokes were in poor taste. And my opinions about humor, I used to be of the mindset prior to this that it was all okay or whatever. My jokes about humor have gotten more, or my opinions on humor have gotten more, I believe that our morality should also apply to our jokes, and the nature of our statements, etc. And, those jokes are just like, they're like fucking sexist. They're just like, they're really off-color jokes. Like you should not like, but simultaneously, that was not targeting her. You could say the jokes were targeting her, but in a context where she would have never heard it. Ultimately, okay. Also, he messaged me to ask if I've ever said anything about the SA stuff. There's always been a chud thing, I think. Also, the SA stuff is crazy. Even amongst the jokes I was making, I don't even think I said anything about sexual assault. I literally, at one point in the call, which isn't in there for some reason, but people have attested was there and had been said. So I guess they're lying too. That I had said like something along the lines of, no, I'm not talking about raping her in response to a lot of people, like I was saying she's a whore. Like, because I don't typically like to make rape jokes like where the target is a woman. Men is a very different story. Also, he messaged. Okay, anyways. So, hey, saw a clip of you questioning this. I've been busy, so I was short. Further TLDR, people fuck. Okay. I don't even remember where this is from. Yeah, so, I liked my own tweet, by the way, because I do that now. But let's read into this. Hold on. Yo, thank you so much, Martin with the 5. You're looking rather gaunt. Get a burger, perhaps a diaper, based on your second channel's content. You choose what to spend this on. Much appreciated. Thank you so much, Martin. Okay, so this continues from an on-stream segment where Cope and Sieve calls me out. Let's take a look. I got his chat is. Are you talking about Beckett's chat? Yeah, his chat, dude. The ACC tards are like actually the stupidest fucking people to engage with. I'm not even kidding. Like they were literally being like they were literally calling for me to be imprisoned. They were calling for my imprisonment. Somebody was saying what I did was unforgivable and I should be locked up and they should throw away the key. And Beckett's here talking about redemption. Except, I didn't kill anybody, you fucking psychos. I made jokes in private while drunk that were incredibly poor taste, and then got leaked, and then totally misrepresented. But simultaneously, like, I didn't actually kill anybody. I should be locked up and they should throw away the key? I'm pleading with you to check inbox. Okay. Fuck it. What matters in the Aiden Lyo doxing drama is intent. Aiden keeps trying to find reasons he didn't. It's not on a technicality. They gave out this info themselves. But at the time, he believed it was private info. No, I didn't. I believed that her first name was public. I think I even said this back then. I knew her last name was public because he gives that out. I knew all of their shit was public. Broadly speaking, because Lyo brags about that fact when he's proudly exclaiming their address. I didn't actually think I doxed anybody. I literally was saying that at the time. Literally at the time, I was saying I didn't dox anybody. That was like a bit. So what do you mean intent? I knew all of their shit was broadly public per Lyo. Right? I just couldn't tell you maybe where each specific thing had come from. Like we know his address is public. I can't tell you what archive he gave that out on. I can't tell you, what fucking, but I literally said, this is like bullshit now. You're just bullshitting. You've now gone from, it's the doxing, or no, I originated the info. Okay, I didn't originate the info, but technically it's somehow still, technically it's still doxing, to, okay, they've given all this info out themselves, it's not doxing. You walked back that claim to now, oh, well, I'm doing mind reading and I know that your like intent at the time, you knew that you were doxing, and just after 9 years, threw your whole career away to get back at some woman who's done nothing to you. No, I push boundaries. Dickers was even saying it the other time. Me and Dickers had a dispute where Dickers thought I doxed Lyo because I was on stream once and I said something along the lines of like, oh, by the way, I know your name, Lyo, Thomas Guerra of Texas or whatever. Because when Bad Empanada, you can literally, the timeline maps perfectly. Bad Empanada was doing a bunch of shit that I thought was fucked, but I found like his like vibe to be very funny. How he'd be like boo and shit under like people's tweets, etc. So I would do fake out doxes of info that I knew wasn't dox info, but if you said it out of context, it sort of sounded like it. So if you go back to my streams at the time, I'll say like, I know your name is Thomas Guerra or whatever. He gave that out himself. I knew that wasn't dox info when I was saying it. The joke was that it seemed like I was doxing him, right? That was a follow-up of that same line of humor, except this time it involved the wife. I knew all of their shit was public per Lyo. Why would the default assumption be that a guy that gives out his shared address with his wife, why would he give out the shared address if that wasn't public? Unless he wants his wife doxed. She could have legit reported you for the joke. Then report me. Report me to the police. I want you, if you believe that I've perpetrated a crime, report me. Please, report me. They're going to be like, here is his serious intent to murder, as he's announcing it in ICVC1 with users Lumpy Willie, Soul Skibbity. You can tell his homicide plan. He's through the verses of the rap, because he's expressing it through the form of song. It's like, okay, report me to the police, please.
Even
I said she could, but sure. No, she can't. I was making a joke in private. It's a leaked call. You can't make an argument for harassment because she was unable to hear it. She wasn't privy to the conversation. It was occurring in a private context. So you can't argue for harassment if the message is never intended to reach the subject and isn't being litigated in a forum that's public. What else would your argument be? Threatening? How can you argue I was threatening her if I was doing? Why didn't I just DM it to Lyo if I was seriously threatening her? Why didn't I just DM it to Lio? Why go and do that in the private part of my server intended as the place where edgy and shock humor is permissible?
But I think I come up in here and I think he talks about and move past stuff. It's about how you handle it, learn and move on. Aiden's inability to do that for
Gilded Poo took my side in the quote retweets? What? Are you serious? After speaking with Aiden, I'd agree with him that at worst he'd spread a dox, but didn't, by his and my definition, dox anyone. He did own the fact he shouldn't have went at Lio's wife and that it was unhinged. So regardless of whether or not it's doxing, by whoever's apparently, it's not doxing by the dictionary's definition. It's not doxing by my definition. It's not doxing by the definition of people that don't think what happened to Drazi was doxing. It's not doxing by Gilded's definition. It's you just have to change the definition of the fucking word. You literally just have to. It's not doxing by Destiny's definition. It's literally not doxing by Destiny's definition. He did own the fact he shouldn't have went at Lio's wife and that it was unhinged. So regardless of whether or not it's doxing by whoever's definition, I think him owning the fact it was stupid. It was. It was. Why do you think it has? It obviously was a fucking moronic decision. Gilded has my respect. Okay? This doesn't change our disagreements. But it honestly, it does take some cojones to give me any credit when you've when we've been going back and forth so hard at each other for like half a year now. To even give me that is a very respectable thing to do. Okay, I can appreciate that. Thank you.
several fucking
This okay, well we're ignoring that for a second.
months was unbearable, but he's apparently attempting to do that, so I'm happy to ease off ripping the shit out of him on a daily basis. Ultimately,
If what I did is doxing, I've been doxed by Beckett. Beckett doxed me. He called me Aiden. Oh, but Aiden, you give that out on your public profile that you've voluntarily linked to your online YouTube presence. I'm sorry. Under my definition of doxing, that's doxing. It's very obviously doxing. Why the fuck is Beckett doxing me? Why is Beckett doxing me?
in my humble opinion, targeting a family member who isn't part of this online shit is actually worse than doxing.
Also, the isn't part of this online shit is also a lie. Which even, and I didn't look, the only reason I even have gone through the Kiwi Farms thread is so I can prove and vindicate myself. I didn't look at it before because the thread wasn't even named. It's like somebody else's thread that they also occasionally post about Lio under, right? But I looked at the, what was I about to say? It was like at the time, and they were even saying that like, what was it? Where was I? What was I about to say? I just totally lost my train of thought. Fucking forgot what I was about to say. Shit. I'm tired.
Generally speaking. Aiden doesn't contest that, that this is what he did. Also, he messaged me to ask if I've ever said anything about the SA stuff. That's always been a chud thing, I think. Like, it's insane shit, but let's not make it something it isn't. So, I thought it was probably worth talking about this. We'll go over Aiden's actual fucking stream. This is, like, from June the 5th. I don't know if this is the last one. But I think I come up in here and I think he talks about it. So, why did you take precaution to capitalize Lio's...
Why, Beckett, if what you're saying is so foolproof and I just have to argue on semantics and technicalities, why don't we have an on-stream discussion? If what you're saying is the truth, Stand firm on it. Let's have a convo about it. A live conversation where your truth can be scrutinized and criticized, and you can defend it. If it's just so true.
His name, Beckett? Did I? I don't know. Why are you asking the dyslexic why he writes things? I don't know. Anyway.
Talk to the strawman on the VOD. Ignore the ones in... Okay, Andrew. I don't know if you know we run thing. You're obviously trying to one guy. If you make it this obvious and you're just in here, like, I know it's entertaining to get me mad for a reaction. I don't ban people who legitimately disagree with me. But when you're like a joke disagreeer that is just typing something for the sake of baiting a crash out, I'm just going to ban you. It's not because I can't handle disagreement, but rather I'd rather engage with disagreement that's coming from people that are not disagreeing for the sake of getting that reaction so I can get entertainment, right? I'd rather it be people who legitimately disagree.
Yeah, I heard Aiden was like named in the lawsuit or something, or the whatever court case is.
It's so forced.
So basically, let's just like clarify this shit.
Why not both? Because then I stop, like, there's no effect on me anymore. Like, if it's just all fake disagreement. It's the same reason I don't have people, like, if somebody says, I want to debate you, Aiden, and they don't know what they want to debate me on, it's like, well, let's find something to disagree on. I don't like doing debates like that. I don't like doing debates where you're just debating for your, like, where it's, like, I want to debate you because you legitimately disagree with me. Not because you're looking for something to then go and disagree on so you can have an excuse to debate me. Wendy, he's not gonna pick up.
Shit, really simply. Where to fucking begin? Jesus. So, I have said publicly.
No, he won't. Shut the fuck up.
I've called Aiden a doxer. I have done this. And I think I have clarified on stream at times when I've done this, or at least generally around this period, that I'm happy to use it as shorthand.
Okay, I'll DM him. I'll DM him. Now shut the fuck up.
Litigate this shit. But it is more accurate, at least for the vast majority
I
of this
DM'd them.
stuff, to say that it is spreading doxed information.
All right. I'm sorry, Andrew. You gotta go. This is annoying as fuck. It's just 24 hours. All right. I'll see you tomorrow. I can't do it today. Any other day, I'm too tired for this shit. I'm too fucking tired for this shit.
Now, to some people, this is a different distinction without a difference.
No, it's not like on a technicality. It's like on a technicality. It's like this, under no accepted definition is this doxing. If this is doxing, calling me Aiden is doxing. Because it wouldn't matter that I've given this out and that I've linked it voluntarily to my online presence, which is exactly what's happened here, right? It doesn't matter, right? It's still doxing because it's my PII, per your definition that just keeps warping. The ever-shifting definition from this fucking spineless rat.
It mattered enough for Aiden to have the conversation with me about it. My biggest problem with Aiden through all of this...
Of course this matters to me. Is anyone going to claim this doesn't matter? Like, I'm not going to deny that I'm obsessive about this. I'm obviously obsessed about this. But you have to remember, for everyone, it's like entertainment. This was the biggest drama of my entire fucking online career. Like, obviously, it's going to be a topic that when it was exaggerated, when there's so many misconceptions, I was being falsely accused of fucking leaking people's numbers and shit and etc., right? Like, obviously, it's going to be something I want to correct the record on, especially since I know that you can't outrun shit like this, and I'm not trying to, right? Anytime anyone beefs with me ever, and they cannot engage with me on substance, this will come up, and I accept that. But if it's going to come up, it might as well come up accurately, because I did things wrong. I did do things wrong. But there were so many things I didn't do that I was accused of doing. Like by this guy, when he claimed I was originating her info.
As those who watch me regularly will know, has absolutely been how he interacted with the Lyo stuff and targeting Lyo's wife at all.
Besides that, this is an honest question. honest question for Beckett or anyone else claiming this, and nobody else claims this, it's just Beckett. What was the problem with my Lio coverage? Besides the mistakes that I made that one night well after the coverage, within the coverage itself, what was the problem? Are we disputing that Lio Convoy admitted on stream with Beckett's ex to asking a minor to film CSAM of themselves? Are we disputing that he admitted that? He later claimed it was a misspeak, but defends the idea anyways. So I don't really know what that's about. Are we denying that Lio Convoy, under threat of contacting family and guardians, kept a legally mentally disabled woman under conservatorship, under threat, in a call for 4 hours to verbally abuse her? Are we denying the fact that Lio called up a 16-year-old school and falsely reported him as a school, as a threat, as a school shooting threat, because the 16-year-old during a shit talking session said he would defend himself if Lio showed up to his house? Are we disputing that? Oh, we aren't. So then what was the problem with the coverage itself? He only needs to link these two because he needs to muddy the waters surrounding the criticisms against Lio. I could have done something wrong and all of my criticisms could still be true, which they are. I stand by all the criticisms I made of Lio at the time and will happily debate anybody on it, right? If that's being disputed, but that's not being disputed. It's just vocalize your grievances with my mistakes on that one night, and then try to link it to the coverage so you can muddy the waters surrounding all of it. The wife was innocent. Yes, she was. She was, absolutely. But that's not what Beckett's claiming. Beckett's claiming that my Lio coverage was the problem. So how is that okay? If we're arguing, I'm just going to try to lay this out to you because you're clearly like a fucking retard. If Beckett is arguing there's a problem surrounding my Lio coverage, how would the reiteration and defense of the primary arguments of my coverage not be a valid response? You fucking drooling shit for brains fucking moron.
Particularly over what he was targeting Lio's wife over. The fact that he was just desperate to have a conversation with Lio, so was prepared to, like, weaponize his wife against him, is an incredibly fucked up thing to do. When I talked to Aiden, I was like, look, if you're happy to accept the position that what you did was fucked up, and just own it and be like, yeah, that was incredibly fucking shit.
No. The name calling, I don't do ad hominem. Ad hominem, I know you didn't say I did ad hominem, but that seems to be the implication. Ad hominem, if you're implying ad hominem, that would imply that I name called in place of an argument. No, I gave you the counter argument and then name called, because the counter argument demonstrates that you are legitimately fucking stupid. I don't know what to tell you.
Shitty. I'll just be like, yeah, sure, it's spreading docs information rather than calling Aiden a doc. So
It's not even docs information. She voluntarily publicized all of it herself and then voluntarily linked herself to the Lio Convoy online presence, and then he voluntarily linked himself back to her. And then their associates, people like Vlad, distributed this info on videos up to 20,000 views, in which Lio publicly identifies his wife, gives out their shared address, her age, etc. So no, it's actually turned out that it's not even docs info. It's literally not even docs info. I admit that it was really reckless to assume that I did, like a composition fallacy, okay? I just assumed that if I knew this info, it was given out by him. I just didn't know where specifically it was from, right? I know he gives out their address. I know, he talks about being an open book as he, like, proudly displays, like, all his PII, etc. So I just assumed that it would come in the hours upon hours upon hours upon hours upon hours of coverage that I watched. Now, it was reckless to go off of that assumption. I absolutely played with fire. But I didn't believe that I was doxing at the time, as I said, at the time, and that's actually just turned out to be completely true. All of this information was publicized by them. And then people like Beckett lied by omission about details surrounding this to make it look like I originated this information, that they know I didn't originate, because that same information was shared by one of Beckett's mods, fucking years prior in a 20,000 view YouTube video.
I think of all the things out of this, it is the lesser, really. If I'm honest, just from my perspective. People can reform. Obviously, I'm friendly with Lio. I obviously don't believe in like one strike and you're fucking done forever. That's not how.
Even if you believe in that, this wouldn't be the, we don't need to talk about this like I've gone through the process. Like I do talk about it like this sometimes, but it like we don't need to talk about this like it's a sex offense, which is exactly what guys like this want to lie to make you believe it is. Okay? Here's what it is. I made some disgusting off-color jokes about some woman in private who didn't do anything to me or anyone else to my knowledge. I mean, she did get, there was like but that's irrelevant. But who didn't do, I made some off-color, disgusting jokes in private, and I disseminated information that she voluntarily provided and linked to the Lio Convoy's public-facing presence. But that information in and of itself, that was reckless to do because I didn't definitively know, like, at the time. I just was under the assumption that, like everything else about this guy, it was provided by him in one of the endless hours of shitter calls. And I think that if somebody goes back to my convo with Dickers at the time, or it might have been the convo with Chud, I think I even say at the time that, like, he's given out her first name. And he's given out their last name.
How I treat literally anybody. But I haven't really got involved in this, and I thought it'd be some nice... Because like we'll go through it because he's like talking about a layer tweet or something, so I'm interested to what he said about that conversation. I did give him permission to talk about it. I didn't record the call, so I don't have a copy of it. I've no idea whether Aiden did.
Who knows? Let's see your recollection of the call first. Who knows? Who knows what I have and don't have? Hopefully, you're just gonna recount the call honestly, right? Why would anyone need to record? Surely trustworthy Beckett, I can trust him to just accurately recall what happened in the call, because trustworthy Beckett, honest Becky, would never lie, right? So let's have a convo. Let's talk about what happened in that call. See what you can task.
If he did, I wouldn't be mad at him. But regardless, we'll have a look.
That doesn't have vested interest in defending Destiny, and a doxing community, right? You would probably understand that yesterday's conversation did go pretty well for me. I get cocky on Twitter sometimes. I'm not going to pretend like I'm some, master debater that like completely like destroyed. But I think, considering I was only going in there to talk to Wick, so there was no prep, I didn't know what was going to come up, the fact that I was taken off guard, and Destiny got brought in, and then it turned into like a 4v1 at one point, I think I did pretty good, all things considered. And a lot of other people think so as well. In a conversation with politics streamer Wick TV,
he's still around. He's doing all right, actually. He's done well off this like Destiny stuff. And the reality is
so in the ACC's mind, what I did was so unforgivable. I must have crawled away, and I'm in a corner. Like, they haven't heard from me. So no, actually, what I did that was probably the most controversial. It is not the worst thing I've ever done. Okay, not even close. It's not the worst. Like, if that was other people have done it, it wouldn't be the worst thing that anyone's done, right? But in regards to, as controversies go, it was my biggest controversy. But no, I can totally like stand by and explain what occurred at that point in time, why it happened, what that means as a result, what it doesn't mean as a result, what I am and have explained that I regret doing, right? And what I didn't do, that I was lied to have done and constantly exaggerated, and when I had no ground to stand on. You have to remember, before this Destiny shit kicked off, I was literally declining. I was in the decline. We were pulling like, we were doing like 70 viewer streams if we were lucky. I fell below 7K. Luckily, we've actually surpassed my pre-London drama numbers, sub-wise, which is like awesome. But, now that I have a ground to stand on here a little bit more, I've organized my arguments. I'm more disconnected from this. I think I'm more capable of litigating, my own defense.
Aiden, to his credit, is so much of a fucking debate, bro. There are points in these conversations where he does make Destiny look like a total dick. Now, all these comments, like, there are no winners. Anybody who engages in these fucking calls with Destiny or food shops,
this
or,
is cope.
like, anything, in my opinion, like, you're not.
How am I not winning because of this? It's like, people are like, this Aiden guy must have a humiliation fetish. This Aiden guy, have you not seen what this has done for me? Is like nobody's seeing it. This has gone overwhelmingly well for me. And I'm not saying that to be egotistical, right? I understand that this is a temporary fluctuation. I'm going to dip again. It's going to plateau, okay? I just am having a good drama or whatever. But how is it even disputed that this has been going well for me? How much have we've gained like hundreds of subs because of this trauma so far. You know, this is probably my best performing month, money-wise, from off of this, that I've had, say, like, in a very long time so far. And then, you know, furthermore, the second convo with Destiny, the one where it was just me, that's my most viewed VOD of all time. It surpassed Weddle on the second day. That's my most viewed VOD of all time.
No one's winning, okay? No one comes
so
out.
I mean, I'd say, all things considered, not to be cocky or egotistical, I'd say I'm winning a little bit, okay? It's okay to acknowledge that I'm winning just a little bit. And it's okay to acknowledge it, because it's okay to acknowledge I was losing. I've been losing most of 2026. I've just been losing.
Of any of these looking good. But, like, it is, like, funny to watch Destiny look fucking ridiculous. I think in his conversation with food shops, like, he's having to defend food shops, like, sexting a 17-year-old. And food shops is like, yeah, but that person lied about their age. And I'm like, look, that is seemingly true. It is very hard to tell because, you know, it's one thing to be like, oh, I was catfished. But you're catfished, it, like...
So when are you joining DGG officially? I'm not joining them. I'll debate them. I'll be around them in the sense, like, I'll go into political panels and stuff, but my stances on Destiny are clear and unwavering, so long as I'm not proven wrong on them. Which I have not been. What I mean, I'm not, you know, I'm not going to, what's the word I'm looking for here? Like, I'd be willing to talk to them about non-drama related stuff in the context of politics, but we're probably still going to disagree on, like, almost everything.
Being food shops and being catfished, where you're the person with a load of comments where you're talking about yourself as a pedophile, is probably, like, a difficult position to hold. Food shops, like, really wants to, like, seemingly, I don't know, clear the slate on all this shit. The reality is there's just too many clips. If Destiny wants to use food shops as their...
We just need to map where the claim has gone to. Because this all occurred, everything that was alleged to have occurred, and I cannot emphasize this enough, was this all occurred in one night. Okay? Now, the drama continued with my defenses afterwards, but the allegations of wrongdoing consist of events that unfolded over the course of one night, of which there were at least probably, at max, 20 witnesses to. Okay? Why does the story keep changing amongst people who weren't there? Because I haven't seen anyone who was there waver on the story. Okay, people who were there have said they knew I was joking, have said what I did and didn't do. Okay, to Dicker's credit, same thing. Like, that night, there's been no new developments, no dispute of the record, or no recent dispute of the record at least. So why does the claim keep changing? Why does the claim just constantly change? Why am I being accused of disseminating new forms of PI that nobody's seen before? Because apparently I'm like some master doxer, especially when I'm fucking drunk. Even though I provided and shown proof for the exact single search query I put into YouTube that led to the first result, etc. Why does the narrative just keep changing on this?
Like, fucking attack dog. I say let him. I think the shit's really funny. It's always good to watch. Like, food shops has these, like, rise and dips, right? So, like, this happened when Destiny started to utilize food shops against Queeman and Just Dog, because he was like, well, this food shops person hates Just Dog and Queeman. I wonder what they think of them. Just Dog and Queeman fucking hate food shops.
You want to know why I'm going to keep winning, or why I want to win? I don't even want to win for my own benefit. I want to win so that self-righteous fucks like this guy don't sit on their little fake pedestal built on a pile of mentally ill losers and shit, right? And just talk down on me. Talk down on me. It's like, what are you talking down about? It's like nobody wins getting in a convo. Like, I did win. I won every single metric of that convo, right? And you're only saying that because you're too much of a pussy to actually show up to challenging conversations. So it's easier to sit from the sidelines, throw your hands up, and pretend like nobody won.
So it's like worked out in like as an interesting little pairing. But like the last time I covered food shops in earnest, I was like, she was down at like 20 fucking viewers with Destiny on stream, and she cried to him about her dying career. And the same thing will happen again in the future, by the way. Like food shops.
Ali Khan was right, okay? Now he's a pedophile, but I'm kidding. Ali Khan was correct, okay? I do this to a lot of other people where I dislike someone and then they eventually turn. I'm like, I was right. But I've been wrong. I've been wrong a lot. Okay? I've been wrong on a lot of things. And Becky might be 10 of them. And Ali Khan gave the warnings, he chimed the bell, and I just didn't listen. And he was correct, unfortunately.
Cannot maintain viewership outside of like the Destiny crowd watching her for Destiny. And this shit has a half-life. Eventually, like, you can't drag this out forever. Especially if no one's going to drop the fucking server. Still waiting for the food shots video? Yeah, I mean, dude. The thing is, I was like all for it, but it's so fucking, well, to like food shots. Unfortunately.
Can we get a Beckett bingo card? Is he going to talk about the old internet or Medicare or some shit from 2011?
Ago, and is intensely fucking pathetic.
Gives some like super vibes-based, opinionated take that he asserts dogmatically despite having no reason to think it.
I mean, that's not a huge amount of material to work with. The other thing is food shops won't get in a call with me for an interview, and I do like to do interviews for like...
Not getting... Wow, that's a really interesting complaint we have. Very interesting complaint we have, Beckett. Very interesting complaint.
Bigger videos, and a load of food shops haters also won't get in a fucking call with me. Because I have asked. One of the things that when I was first making the food shots video, I reached out to several streamers and creators from the old politics.
Bell ring. Okay, you don't get any credit, Shelby. And you know why you don't get any credit? Because anybody you've rung the bell on that you were right about, you yourself backtrack. So when I finally realized you were right about somebody, you like that person now.
Hey, do you want to sit down and do an interview with me for this food shops video? And everyone's like, nah, I don't want to get involved. No, I don't want to talk about food shops. And I'm like, well, if no one will get into a call.
Oh yeah, Beckett's also one of the people that's like, I hate moral figging or whatever. Like he's against he's against like implied morality in your cover, which I think is a good, I think it's a good thing to be moral and to assert your moral standards when engaging in critical coverage. Absolutely, I think morals are good and you should have them. And the terms like, moral flagging or whatever are just like excuses for people who don't want to hold themselves to a set of preconceived standards and be decent people. And I think that's like ridiculous. But it's funny because while asserting that, because he can't defend the doxing claim, he's now gone to the jokes. How is this not the most like morally like posturing? Like, I don't understand. $5 from Bobby. Thank you so much. The saddest words in voice and pen. Ali Khan was right again. Okay. They're putting that on his grave. That's going to be the epitaph on his grave.
And like
on my grave. No, they're putting that on my grave. They're putting that onto my grave.
Interview. But like my style of content, it's kind of just not, it doesn't work. I'm not having fun with it. So that's what's happening with the food shots video. If that changes, if somebody like, because I suppose I've got the interview with Connor. He was like the only person who agreed to an interview. If some other people agree to an interview, maybe I'll pick the food shots video up again.
Commentary snark doxer Aiden Underground is now stating that I'm not now stating that. So this is a lie. So known liar and pedophile Leia something is lying about me. It has been my claim since day one, and anyone can rewind this and verify this. Maybe I went on. Okay, I went on. I got a little bit heated. Okay. You know what? Fuck it. I stand by it. Even if Leia proves me wrong, I'm just going to pretend like that conversation. This is what they do. They'll make a claim. You'll argue to them point by point why their claim is incorrect. They have no rebuttal. And then the next day, they'll go on to reassert the same claim as if the argument never happened. Which will show you how fucking lazy this gorilla...
She's an unironic waiting room. She's like a waiting room and after show. And that's it. I mean, like, the difference is Justo was an after show who built an audience. Food shops is an after show where people are just there for the after show on the off chance Destiny and he raids her. And they just want to see an attack dog go after Queen and Just Dog. And I mean, like, I can't blame them, right? Like, that's Destiny's girl for, like, the fucking drama shit. That's it. Wick's not really capable. Wick's not really capable. Who, like, Connor's gone. Who else is it?
Don't Beckett and Dickers hang out IRL? I'm kind of understanding why they look... Okay. No. Okay. Beckett and Dickers are not the same. I spoke to Dickers extensively in private. I think Dickers can be very naive. I think Dickers can be very scared to give a solid take on something. But in my discussions with him, in my talks with him, what I have gauged is that he was being honest. He believed... And listen, that's all I could really ask for. Like, I can't be mad... Even if I disagree with you, like, if you believe what you're saying. This is why, like, Hellbent sort of grew on me. I think Hellbent is still, like, the most annoying fucking person of all time. But I don't really, like, dislike her, per se, because I realize that she believes what she's saying.
Who else does Destiny have? Is it literally just, like, for this kind of shit? Like, it's just Wick and Food Shop.
You know, I gotta bring this up real quick as well. This guy gave me permission to show this. This is, people are like, why don't you cover anything positive? This is positive, okay? For those of you that don't remember, we were bringing up during the second Destiny Wick combo how, like, you can create any tenuous links. After I spoke to Destiny, people were threatening to call my brother, right? People were threatening to call my brother, and then they asked for proof, and I brought up a tweet where that happened, and they claimed that this guy was like it was a false flag. It was which is, by the way, that's such a righty, like, talking point. Whenever, like, there's a right-wing terrorist attack, they're like, Fed. So when I showed them proof that it was happening, Wick tried to imply that that was, like, one of us in disguise, the dude that was threatening to call my brother. But this guy, the fucking weird troll that tried to call my brother, reached out to me, and I was shocked. I thought this was, like, a bot. Or maybe not even, like, a real person. This is the best apology I've ever read, by the way. I actually feel bad that you thought I was threatening you. Looking back, I can see how what I said could have come across that way, and I apologize. When he starts talking coherently, I was, like, shocked. Because he comes off as, like, a bot or, like, drunk or something when he's replying. I can see how what I said could have come across that way, and I apologize for that. For the record, I don't know your brother, your school, or anything about your personal life. I only referenced those things because I'd heard you mention your school before and knew you had a brother. There was never any real-world knowledge behind it. I am just a troll account, and honestly not someone who should be taken seriously. It's true that I'm a huge Destiny fan, so if leaking this conversation supports your point and shows you were right, go for it. That said, what I said has nothing to do with anything Destiny has ever said. I just get frustrated because I can understand his side of certain situations and feel like people refuse to give him the benefit of the doubt. But at the end of the day, it is pretty pathetic for me to be defending someone who doesn't know me and probably wouldn't defend me either. My comments towards you are a reactionary, pathetic attempt at hurting you for no real reason. I'm deleting the comments I've tweeted at you, not to hide what I've said, but because none of it is true. Take care. You won't see me adding you anymore. This is the best apology I've ever read. I didn't think this guy... I never for a second thought this guy was actually going to go fucking mess with my family or whatever. I thought he was just like another nameless troll. But listen, Batman turd. No hard feelings, okay? This is a great... I'm showing this because apologies like this, these days, are very rare. Very rare. That's like a W apology.
She isn't even good at attacking. I mean, it's good. It is kind of good content to watch her spiral occasionally. But, like, I have watched her conversations with people, and at least bits of them, and some of it's funny, but most of it's just, like, boring. Okay. Beckett, Null said Just Ilk creeps him out. No fucking way. Please tweet that at me. That's pretty funny if that's true.
Bitch is, okay? Too busy fucking eating bananas instead of, like, going and actually doing her due diligence or research, right? I have stated that I didn't think it was doxing from day one. This was literally a dispute at the time. Per the definition of doxing, he's currently giving and defending the Snark in the Snark server where doxing occurred. Seems like Aiden is rewriting history to pander to those that are currently under fire for the Snark server. Why does she think that Gilded Poo, somebody that hates my guts and has gone at me harder than anyone else, or Beckett, somebody that loves Lio and hates my guts and has gone at me harder than anyone else, both personal friends of Lio Convoy, right? Does she think that just for no reason at all, maybe I paid them off, they decided to walk back the claim that I doxed after I gave them my concise argument? I gave Queeman my concise argument, and he said on stream that people went too hard at me over the doxing claim, when he was also a major critic of that. And to be fair, right?
Beckett, you love Lio. Like, I don't know. It's probably... Dude, I can't be bothered to fight that shit anymore. It's not worth it.
I can't be... Okay, when you say you can't be bothered to fight it, he's implying like there's like that's not the case. He doesn't have the fight in him anymore to prove why that's not the case. What are we why are we pretending like you're not Lio's biggest sweeper? He's doing like the Diorio thing where like the obvious truth, the obvious like assertion based off of his actions and what he's decided to show us, right? You're just saying that that's not happening, but not really explaining like how Dior's like, I'm independent. I don't sweep for Ethan. I've criticized him before, and you go to his criticism, and it's like the most like bitch made like token criticism possible that just serves as like a tool to make him look fair and balanced.
Did people go too hard at Aiden over this shit? No, not because it's doxing, but because he went after Lio's wife. Like, it is a completely reasonable amount of going after him. Like, and again, I've said this.
I went after her. How did I go? What? I've never contacted this woman. I've never tried to contact this woman. Everything that we take issue with was occurring in a private chat where there was a no leak rule, and despite a lie at the time that leaking was happening all the time, if you go back, and I said anyone who wants to go into the mod chat can go do that, anyone who wants access to the audit logs can go do that, leaking was like only occurring on like a basis of like once a month at that point in IC, like at most, and people are like, what? That's crazy. No, there were 100 people in that chat, right? And 100 sounds like a big number, but 100 can be like, maybe more like maybe 80 to 70, because like 30 are lurkers, and then you have like maybe half that aren't even really active, and it's like you get like a regular user base consisting of like what, 30 people or something, right? But it was in a private chat that I would have no reason to believe she would have seen, so I don't really know how was I going after her.
This way, Aiden. We said this in the call. It is a completely reasonable level of outrage. I think the problem is it's really
what?
Easy to latch onto, like, be like, well, it's doxing. And like, it's certainly spreading dox information. You are spreading private information that is
not private. That's a lie. She put, what am I accused of spreading? Face, name, workplace. She gives all of that out on the public and still public Facebook account, linked to her in videos of upwards of 20,000 views, right? She gives all that out and then interacts with Lio's public-facing YouTube Facebook, and he interacts back with her, and she voluntarily identifies herself as his wife. So it's not even like, oh, it's technically public, but it's not linked, because we know that most cases of doxing use already publicly available info. It's like, no, she's voluntarily provided this info and then voluntarily linked herself and the info to the public-facing person, right?
Widely circulated publicly, or about a non-public figure, and this is like exacerbated by the fact that it's Lio's wife. She is not an online figure. She's not a content creator. She's not even a fucking chatter. Now, there are arguments that have been made, I have heard them, about the fact that, well, you can find like her details through a few clicks, essentially.
Through a few what?
Her details through a few clicks.
A few clicks? No, you could find it through literally one. It's like, it's not just like it's in one or two places. It's across multiple websites, across multiple videos, troll channels dedicated to it that are still up and never private struck because they don't consider this docs, right? Etc. It's not just like it's not like this hyper obscure info. The bad part of doxing is that you're making information available to malicious actors who can use that for bad, right? All of this information that I was accused of disseminating, which I even dispute some of what I was accused of disseminating, right? But if we were just to accept the original claim, let's say I disseminated all of that, right? Let's say I did disseminate, and they say her workplace, right? Even though it's public, if they don't want it there, I'm still gonna show courtesy. but they say her workplace, acting like she like works at, like, the mom and pop like hardware store, which is not true. But that's, once again, besides the point. And even Jay Stock at the time was saying, like, the analogy I could use without giving away what she does is, like, if I know that somebody's a pharmacist and I then say, yeah, I know you work at CVS, or like fucking what's a big pharmacy chain, I know you work at CVS or whatever. Jay Stock even admitted I could have conceivably just made that up, right? Because it's such a vague fucking it's such like a, but let's say that it wasn't vague. Let's say that I actually gave out like the actual building or something, etc., which I didn't do, but let's say for a minute I did. It still wouldn't be doxing, because on the already linked public-facing account that she voluntarily linked herself and then was further linked by people like Gilded, etc., she gives that out.
Essentially. But I don't know if we'd accept this. People certainly didn't want to accept this over the Rowan stuff when they were arguing with me over it. And I don't think we'd accept... And again, we wouldn't accept it over the, like, Wick stuff necessarily. Like, we wouldn't accept it over the Wick stuff if Wick hadn't publicly acknowledged that information was correct.
What?
Like, if we were just, like... If Wick's details were just out there and he'd never... Like, this is why also why you ignore. If you're doxed, you just fucking ignore it.
So if Wick, and I don't know the Wick lore, okay? But if Wick, under his, like, let's say that this is a good one-to-one, okay? Let's say that under the name Wick TV, that he knows is the name that he uses as his pseudonym online, Wick decides to post the state he's from under the name Wick TV. He's now knowingly, voluntarily, by his own volition, disseminated PII as a part of his public-facing persona. That is not dox info. It is not dox info to call me Aiden, because I know that I am linking that to my public-facing persona when I tell you that. When I tell you that my name is Aiden. So that's not dox info. When Denal went through an old stream VOD of mine and found, like, the state where I, like, found the states of where I say friends and family or for whatever, that wasn't doxing. Even though Denal had to probably search extensively to get it, that was not doxing, because it was all information that I knowingly and voluntarily provided as a part of my public-facing persona.
You wouldn't be like, well, that's now fair game. It's when stuff becomes part of a major story, is widely circulated, and basically you're doing no fucking work for it. This is what I'm doing the Keffel stuff. Keffel's name became public because of Keffel, and like details because of Keffel's Kiwi Farms thread. And her Kiwi Farms thread was so hugely publicized, including by herself, it just became part of the public discourse. Like, you can't, like, and it's why when she went after Hunter Avalon for doxing her, everyone was like, you're out of your fucking mind. Hunter Avalon.
I don't think, I'm not saying that what happened with Wick was not doxing. Or whatever, right? I'm not, he's doing the Wick comparison.
Reading your Kiwi Farms page, something that you yourself have highlighted in your drama, is obviously not fucking doxing. Shut the fuck up. I do feel like this.
What did you just say?
After Hunter Avalon for doxing her, everyone was like, you're out of your fucking mind. Hunter Avalon, reading your Kiwi Farms page, something that you yourself have highlighted in your drama, is obviously not fucking doxing. Shut the fuck up. I do feel like this
wait,
okay.
What? That's I don't even agree with that. I don't even agree with that. Okay, so if somebody highlights their own Kiwi Farms thread, that it's okay to start reading through it? Has Lio not discussed his own Kiwi Farms thread extensively? I still wouldn't even argue you can use the information that's on there. I wouldn't even go that far. Huh?
Like, I don't know, messy and confusing.
This guy might have an even looser standard of doxing than I do.
But yeah, I think, generally speaking, Aiden was handed information. Let's be clear about that as well. Like, Aiden was largely handed information.
No, this is the first... Okay, so now, this all occurred over the span of one night. The people that were there have never changed the story, disputed what occurred. How does the story keep changing? How does the story keep changing? I was handed it now. I was handed it.
It was not him doing like a huge amount of fucking digging work, because
no, it wasn't handed to me. I was under the assumption, and to this day, I'm still sure that I heard it in I'm almost certain that outside of him deciding to link her Facebook to him, I'm almost certain he's called her by his first name. I'm almost certain that in one of the fucking hours and hours and hours of calls we watch, he's given out her first name. That's the one thing I was never able to figure out why I knew that. I just assumed that like his address, like his town, etc., it was one of the many pieces of PII he voluntarily disclosed in one of those calls because, and I'm consistent on this once again, fact check it, you can compare it to my story at the time, right? But I had thought that that was public and he'd given that out himself in one of the extensive, multi-hour calls we were listening to. And I still think that could be true. I just have to go scrape the transcripts and go through that or whatever, right? But all I put into YouTube was Lio Convoy, first name, while I was drunk and trying to be edgy, right? It was the first result. It was like just the first result. That's how I got it. That's never been up for dispute. That's where the photos came from. The photos that were taken from her public-facing, linked to Lio Convoy voluntarily, Facebook, right? That had already been utilized and disseminated in videos of upwards of 20,000 views.
He's not really fucking capable of it. I think the biggest argument you'd have is, God, what happened to Hunter? I mean, he got shot at. I think the biggest argument you'd have is the stuff about like Lio's wife's employment, which I have not heard said anywhere. But apparently that was included.
What are you talking about? It's listed literally on the cover of the Facebook account that Lio interacts with on his Lio Convoy / Thomas Guerra Facebook account. And that's not doxing, by the way. Once again, he goes by his full name. Just like it's about as much dogging calling fucking Hunter Avalon, right? But like, what are you talking about? These are easily verifiable facts. Like, you could easily figure out that what you're saying isn't true. Like, all this demonstrates to me is that when they ran with these, they didn't do like a shred. If we're assuming that he's not lying, nobody researched the allegations that they were making. I need to know where to go to sign whatever petition gets you to stop looping on this drama. It's this simple. I want Beckett to get on camera and issue a public apology to me, okay? Like Casey Tron did with Ethan, and then I will be satisfied, okay? Then I'll be satisfied.
Included in another video, again, I'd say spreading doxed information rather than doxing itself. This is probably to most people, though, again, a distinction without a difference, but when we're talking about doxing, in the context of like Snark server, what the Snark server is being accused of.
Yeah, he just like went through all the photos on her Facebook and then told everybody the specific part of the Kiwi Farms thread that her still public Facebook profile was posted on. And just like one measly 20,000 view video. He only showed that this was super obscure information that was shown to half of Yankee Stadium. It was really obscure, guys. It was so obscure that poor Becky forgot that this even happened when he was claiming that I had originated the info that his own mod had posted in a 20,000 view video years before I was even involved.
Actively digging for private information as a group.
Yeah, I'll debate Beckett. Absolutely. Any day, night, etc. But the only reason I loop on that, like I dropped it for a while, but they literally, DGG tried to go and bring this back up and then reframe the narrative, right? So it only comes up so long as it's being utilized against me, which it is on a regular basis. It's not like I'm bringing this up for no reason out of the blue. I'm responding to other people who bring it up to utilize it against me.
Which, for the purposes of harassment as well, right? That's the accusation. No, Hunter hides behind his wife while being shy. It wasn't his wife, it was his girlfriend. His wife had like broken.
Wait, I'm sorry, what was his claim?
Which, for the purposes of harassment as well, as a group is actively digging for private information as a group.
Actively digging for private information as a group? Who in the group? Okay, unironically, I'm going to push Dickers on this. Dickers was in the room. Dickers knew who everyone in the call was. Dickers will dispute this. 150%. That is a lie. That is a lie. Nobody else in that call was participating in looking for her info. Not even Dickers would stand by that. Not even Dickers would stand by that. Oh, against the Snark server. I don't think he is.
Which, for the purposes of harassment as well, right? That's the accusation. No, Hunter hides behind his wife while being shy. It wasn't his wife.
I think he's talking about me.
Like, you can't, like, and it's why when she went after Hunter Avalon for doxing her, everyone was like, you're out of your fucking mind. Hunter Avalon, reading your Kiwi Farms page, something that you yourself have highlighted in your drama, is obviously not fucking doxing. Shut the fuck up.
Yes, Lyle Convoy is like a Mama Max type figure. He's a failed predator catcher that has verifiably gotten people groomed, but to my knowledge, never gotten a predator arrested. He's engaged in the emotional abuse of disabled adults who are compelled to stay in the call under the threat of contacting their family. And we're not talking about mild disabilities. We're talking about a woman who was so disabled that she had the rights of a child. And was mentally comparable to one. She was under conservatorship, and he, one of the worst calls I've ever listened to, for 4 hours, verbally abused this woman. And he's called kids' schools, reported them as school shooting threats, knowing that he was lying while doing it, to get social consequences for them. He, per his own admission, but he claims now that it was a misspeak, asked a kid to film CSAM of themselves, and that same kid, he brought that kid on stream to debate their own groomer, and his co-host on that stream later ended up grooming that same kid.
Do you feel like this shit's getting, like, I don't know, messy and confusing? But yeah, I think, generally speaking, Aiden was handed information. Let's be clear about that as well. Like, Aiden was largely handed information.
Not true.
He's like, no, except I fucked that up. I did things
If anyone, yeah, I was handed information by Lio and his wife, yes.
wrong. I'm a dick. I acknowledge that, then I'm fine with that. Credit. He has stopped talking about ACC stuff. He's stopped talking about Lio Convoy. And, if he's like, no, I accept I fucked that up, I did things wrong, I'm a dick.
No, what I accept, make no mistake about it, I fucked up that night with this, like, gay troll bullshit, like, fucking middle school edgelord mentality, right? I compromised my own coverage by doing that. It was a completely reckless, like, stupid fucking decision. What I will not say that I was wrong on is my coverage. I stand by my coverage at that time. I stand by it completely. I still believe that everything that I said about Lio Convoy is true and reprehensible, and that has not wavered. And nobody's called in to contest me on the specific nature of my criticism.
I acknowledge that, then I'm fine with it. Whatever. Like, move on, acknowledge the mistake, sort your shit out. It is that simple.
To everyone there, everyone, even the people I don't like involved, right?
Well, he's bringing it back to defend.
Again, I said Lio admitted to, so Lio said that he did on Stardust stream, and then later it was claimed that they were just spitballing ideas, but then he defends the idea of actually going to ask the miner themselves, meaning he intended to do that if he didn't, right? He literally defends that idea to this day.
Himself. So he's being, like, one of the attack lines on him is that he's being a cool doxer because of this Lio stuff.
Also, the whole Lio's on good terms. Lio's on good terms. Yes, whenever he's, like, revealed to have egregiously and reprehensibly treated another, like, vulnerable human being, all of a sudden, conveniently, they're best friends, and, like, all the claims have been retracted. I'm sure that that's, like, completely organic, and it's not a desperate attempt to save face. And totally on purpose, for the sake of trying to get them to vouch and minimize his own wrongdoing perpetrated against them. Sure.
It's like, I don't know. I'm trying to think through the kind of, like, logical, like, span here that we're talking about. It's like, if the argument is, like, he received some sort of doxed information, I mean, that's huge.
It's like, it's like when I hear that about Lie, it's like, that's saying, me and Anna are cool now. Me and Anna, we're good. We've been good. We're cool now.
Also not really like the accusation currently being made at Aiden. There is a difference between actively going and looking for somebody's information that's never been published anywhere and trying to get through, like, their Facebooks and everything else, or trying to, like, gather a load of info in, like, random fucking places. It's also the sexual assault allegation stuff. Like, there's this this came out of Chud's conversation with him, or, like, before, like, when Chud was reviewing everything. Chud was like, well, these calls are crazy. Like, it's like he's like,
I'm being accused of sexual assault. It never ends. It never ends. You know, just when you think you're out, they always pull you right back in. You guys have to remember, I did stop looping on this for a little bit. Then it got reinvoked by DGG, and now, and, like, I'm just remembering, like, how insane the exaggeration was here.
going to sexually assault Leo's wife. and I've never really been on this position. I think it's we all say fucking crazy shit. Let's just not make this something it's not. It's like you can be like, that's a crazy fucking thing to say, but everyone said crazy shit. Let's not pretend like Aiden is like planning to rape Layo's wife or some shit. Okay, it's just like it doesn't help to like oversell this.
To be fair, I didn't do a good job of providing my defense at the time. I was completely.
He shouldn't have done it in the first place simply because he knew that was a line. He probably shouldn't have crossed point blank. Completely fucking agree. Completely fucking agree.
Ultimately, it's semantics. Sure, he technically didn't. It's not like off of a small technicality. It's not even sort of like doxing. It's just as much like it's like me saying Beckett like technically isn't doxing me by calling me Aiden, but we know what this is. No, if I voluntarily give you this information, knowing that I'm linking it to my online my either like anonymized or fucking why I'm having a stroke right now, dude. Linking it to my like online presence, then it's not dox material. I'm having a stroke. I'm dying right now.
There is legitimately no reason why Aiden should have gone after Layo's wife, especially when it was to have a conversation with Layo.
I was being like an erotic schizo. I was like talking all over the place, saying a bunch of stupid shit. I didn't know how to handle it. It was my first like super big controversy. And I just didn't handle myself well there at all, which is why I'm not too worried when they walk back the claim as I provide my present argument. I don't give a fuck who lied and who didn't about what at what point in time. All I wanted and my only vested interest, as I said to Gilded Poo, was to clear my name on that allegation specifically. I can understand why people thought I did that because I didn't provide. I was not capable of giving a good. I was not capable of serving as my own defense at that point in time. Right? I've laid out my argument time and time again on this. Seems like Aiden is rewriting history to pander those that are currently under fire. I'm not trying to pander to anyone. If I was trying to pander, I would have started covering Destiny a long time ago. Here is Aiden Underground completely grandstanding about PII being used while he's facing his own doxing controversy. Because I don't care about this. It's not Lyo drama. This is Beckett drama now, okay? This is Beckett drama. He had doxed the wife of a person he was covering at the time. Aiden tells Dickers, Beckett, and Gilded Poo he would tell somebody off and correct the behavior just for using PI even in private. This is like by the way, this is like the biggest IQ test. If you've engaged in behavior yourself that you have admitted you don't think is cool and you don't stand by and you're not proud of and have walked back and have disavowed yourself for doing it, it is not hypocrisy to apply that standard to other people and not be okay with the act that's occurred.
See, I'm like, again, this is part of the reason we're watching this, because I just want to chat. I'm completely fine if he's like owning the position of, yeah, this was like a fucked thing to do. You shouldn't be using people's PII.
No, it was fucked, but it seems like the level of fucked that you're implying is not like it was fucked. But no, not even the fucked part. Like, it was fucked, but it was not nearly as fucked as you're pretending it is, right?
To, like, apply any kind of pressure or, like, target anybody, and that's what I did. Like, fine, cool, based. I mean, like, that's kind of what I wanted from the beginning. Now, the part of the problem with, like, Aiden's initial, like, responses to this stuff was he looped an awful lot over the first, like, 4 months of this drama, where he was basically trying to relitigate it and get like little wins back, as I said to him in the message from April. But yeah, it's
right.
fine.
You get like little wins back, little wins. I'd say I'm winning bigly. Okay, I'd say that we're winning. I'm saying the winning that is going to happen, and the winning that has not happened yet. Okay. Well, that's the same thing. I'm actually like brain dead today. The winning that is going to happen and the winning you've experienced. In comparison, you don't know what winning is yet. We're going to be winning so hard that you may even get tired of winning, and it certainly will not be small, okay? Has anything of the last few weeks been small to you? No, it hasn't. Could, for example, previously be a drunk driver in your 20s that when you got completely sober, and in your 40s, you could be not okay with drunk driving, actually. And if anything, my position here is consistent because I said about Rita, I said if Rita doesn't repeat the act and shows legitimate remorse for anything that's occurred, etc. Boring. I moderate, like, for example, I'm not gonna call this person out by name, but there have been instill I see from my culture that interacted with
Kiwi. Discuss this with like the corrective measure stuff. I just don't like. There is obviously a different standard by which we treat people who are like family members and adjacent to a situation. Like, it is one thing.
Yes. So, for example, I love my family. So I would never, and I want to protect their privacy, and I consider it dox info if you were to publish information about my family members. So, for example, I don't go under my X or under my Aiden_UG account. I don't go commenting under my mom's post, right? I don't give out my mom's address. I don't give out my mom's age. I don't give out, her occupation. I don't describe her physical appearance and identify photos of her as being her, right? And if anyone was to have discovered my mom's social media accounts, I would have had her private it, right? Or she would do that if I asked her to, right? Because I actually care about that and consider that dox info. If I didn't care about that, then I probably don't really consider that to be that private, do I?
If you're a content creator and you leave up like personally identifiable information about yourself, but being like, oh well, her Facebook is there, and like we'll come to a second part of this in a second, but being like,
I grew out of my OCD, okay? I grew out of my OCD a very long time ago. Very long time ago. Aiden doesn't want his mom public because it would reveal that I am his stepdad. You know, you didn't have to leak that, buddy.
her Facebook's there and they're interacting. I don't know if we'd like be like, well, that's fair game. And if it is, by the way, if it is fair game, like, wouldn't that like completely rip apart all the arguments of like Tom or Brandon Buckingham doxing Rowan? Because like
what? But let's go back.
It's there and they're interacting. I don't know if we'd like be like, well, that's fair game. Her Facebook's there and your interactor's there, and it, like we'll come to a second part of this in a second. But being like, her Facebook's there and they're interacting. I don't know if we'd like be like, well, that's fair game. And if all the argument, if it is, by the way, if it is fair game, like, wouldn't that like completely rip apart all the arguments of like
Okay, it's not so much fair game as in if I was going and saying, hey mom, under someone's Twitter account, under the Aiden UG handle, right? Under my present Twitter account, if I was going under my mom's my mom doesn't even have a fucking X account, but I was going under my mom's X and I was like, hey mom, how's it going? It would not be doxing if you said this account and the information in the bio, etc., that's Aiden's mom, and read that, right? Because I have voluntarily established that link by deciding to interact with her public-facing profile under my online persona, and vice versa, right? It would also be, and my mom starts then commenting under my stuff, and I'm like, hey mom, how's it going, etc. If you were to go use the name of her account, you would not be doxing her, because I have voluntarily established that link and given out the fact this is my mom under my online persona.
Tom or Brandon Buckingham doxing Rowan?
Hey Aiden, new fan here coming from Parry's former audience. Is that even true?
Because like her Instagram is public, right? She's interacting, like it was public.
Oh my god. This person is really mad that I read her weird pedophilic Nazi fan fiction on stream. She wrote that, by the way. It was embarrassing as fuck. I like how he keeps perpetuating how to find that information, but it's super cool. No, I am perpetuating how to find that information, yes. Because they still leave it up. Lio and his wife know where that info is. It's on their accounts. They leave it up. What is... unironically, the take is, I shouldn't be allowed to defend myself. I just shouldn't be allowed to defend myself. No, I will refer to publicly and consensually disclosed information by the party involved to disprove an allegation that I doxed that information. Absolutely.
Public when she was going live with the drama to go after Tom. So I'm not sure that, like, that is a solid defense. The other problem with it is, Aiden didn't know this at the time. Like, Aiden didn't know that, like, I don't think anyone did. I've never heard.
What I knew at the time was that this guy didn't consider anything PII and in one place or another had given everything out. And I knew the first name of his wife and I knew her last name. I don't look at his Kiwi Farms thread. So my assumption was that this given piece of information was like all the other pieces of information that I couldn't specifically source, given out in one of the hours of calls that I watched. I had my oh fuck moment when I realized after the fact, as I'm saying this on stream, that he's given this out in one of these calls, that might not have been the case. Which actually I'm not even convinced is true. I have to, once again, I gotta go scrape these transcripts. I still don't know where I got that first name, and I'm almost certain it came from one of those calls, right? But I didn't believe that what I was doing was doxing at the time of doing it, right? And I say as such at the time. I got pressed on this on stream. I said the same thing back then. And it now turns out that they voluntarily disclosed all this information. So if the argument is I couldn't have known this at the time, Well, I explained before, just like I said at the time, I've been wildly consistent on this for half a year. I didn't believe I was doxing when I was doing it. Even if, and it's totally fair to say, that it was reckless because I didn't have enough basis for believing that that wasn't necessarily dox. That's totally fair, right? It was reckless and probably the result of lowered inhibitions, right? That's a totally fair criticism to make. But the question is, from the intent perspective, that wasn't lacking, but that was lacking, but obviously, intent or not, you could still dox there. We could still colloquially apply that. Okay, so let's look at consequence. Oh, all the information that I was accused of disseminating, she disseminates that herself, and then he goes and interacts with the spot that's disseminated in his public-facing profile. They link each other's Facebooks together. She identifies herself as his wife, like posting his like YouTube comments or whatever on her like Facebook. He's replying under her on his Lio Convoy / Comascara Facebook, right? That's like literally, they've given this out.
Heard Lio's wife's Facebook mentioned at all before like a month or so, like a month or two ago, where it's like, I've never heard that conversation. That's clearly not where that information that Aiden got came from, or at least that's not how he came across it, right?
I've explained a million times. I've shown the logs. I said at the time we could go through my search history if you want. I've literally I've shown my search history. I don't know how this is like a question.
But
so,
yeah, like,
so Aiden would be okay
again,
if we doxed his whole family if their Facebooks are public? No. 2 criterion would have to be met. If under my Aiden Underground Facebook account that I've linked in bio, if I go and start posting photos with my family on that account or replying to my family members' Facebooks being like, hi mom, hi dad, hi uncle, hi per individual who I'm replying to who is my given family member, and they're like, hi, our son or relative that is a YouTuber, and we're replying to you under your official YouTube account or Facebook account, then yeah, you can absolutely use that info. Yes, 100%. Yes, but I consider my family's info dox info, so that's why I don't interact with them on my public-facing accounts, right?
it's the targeting of the wife, in my opinion, that matters far more than anything else.
Right, because he gives it all out. It was only when Vocal Critic did it that he then considered it dox information, and the fact that they had voluntarily disclosed at the time was, in my opinion, lied about, but I don't care accusing him of lying. Additionally, JSOC cut Aiden off as a result of his doxing controversy, and Aiden showed a face dox, name, and occupation workplace info. So, just so we're clear, I've disputed this last part, but let's say I did this. Let's say I shared her occupation.workplace. Let's say I did this for a minute. On the public-facing Facebook account, where she still leaves it up and engaged with Lio Convoy's Facebook account after this was identified as belonging to his wife, they have the same last name, Lio voluntarily gave out all the information, her age, etc. Right? After her workplace, she still has that. She literally on her public Facebook. All this. The only reason I didn't go to her Facebook, right? I didn't go to her Facebook, but obviously to prove my claims, I had to go figure out, or I had to go because I knew what I knew at the time was. You could have known this at the time. What I knew at the time was they can state Lio doesn't consider anything PII. That's why.
So I will say this because I've argued with Lio about this. This happened like with the Dead City stuff. So Dead City got banned from my Discord. I went to talk to the mods about it afterwards. I'm not. I think it's fair enough from that perspective. They can mods run the Discord. But Dead City had an image of Lio's house in their Twitter banner profile thing, and I was like, oh, that's clearly mental, right? That's a fucking crazy thing to do. But Lio's address is public. He has made it public. He's made it very public. And while it's a crazy thing to do, and you can cut someone off and be like, you're a schizo, it's not doxing, right? It is not doxing to go on Google Maps on someone's publicly available address that they have made very public multiple times and be like, that's a picture from the Google Maps.
Okay, so the photo of the house is okay because Lio gives out the address. So if it's like one search with that piece of information, Beckett doesn't consider it doxing. So like if somebody just searched up like census records or records of who's living at that household or whatever, I don't even know, is that even public? I'm not entirely sure, whatever. Beckett wouldn't consider that doxing?
It's an absurd standard to have. So like I can see it from that perspective. If you're like, well, Lio's wife's address is public, that's true. But like, Lio doesn't really talk about his wife very much.
Yes, are you? Oh my god! It was a meme. My wife was literally a meme when I was doing the coverage. My wife. One of the kids that he brought in, this Jordan person, he talks about my wife, how Jordan was being rude to my wife or whatever, right? And then this like Peaches person that he also brought in, he didn't bring Peaches in physically. I don't know if they ever met in person. But this person had accused his wife of emotional abuse, which I don't even think is true, by the way. Don't get me wrong. But like he's bringing shitters around her or whatever.
Her name isn't really mentioned in the community. She's generally kept out of things. I know that there's obviously overlap with the fact that Lio had like the found family stuff. But even with the dramas that occurred around that, she was never a focus point.
Oh, okay. So it's claimed she's not a public figure. She's not involved in the drama. It's okay. She's involved in the drama, but she's not the main part of the drama.
I don't think treating her like a public figure is fair. And again, it's the reason of the targeting that does matter here. It may not be doxing, but it doesn't mean you want to blast it out further. Yeah. I mean, again, like, you've gone to check, like, Aiden's gone to check this. I see why. I can see the argument of the defense, but it's like, okay, if what's like a good example? If you do something wrong, let's say you go into a store and you intend to steal something, and you steal this item, you steal like a fucking, I don't know, you steal like a steak from a shop. And then afterwards, like 6 months later, you find out that on that specific day, steak was actually free at this shop. Does it really change the intention?
No. Okay. Here's the 1-to-1. You get really drunk. You go into a store. You pick up a piece of steak, and for whatever reason, you like think you just paid because you're really drunk. You stumble out with the steak, thinking that you paid. Thinking that you paid, even though you've no good reason to think that you paid. Right? You walk out of the store drunken, thinking that you paid, and then you find out that it was free. It's like when you have your oh fuck moment, you then realize, wait, it was free, so I didn't steal it. So under dubious reasoning, you didn't believe you were stealing, right? Under dubious reasoning, you didn't believe you were stealing, and then consequentially, it turns out you weren't stealing. So although the criticism can be made of recklessness, absolutely, it's not the comparison there is not the same.
Like you find out, oh, I didn't actually steal anything, that's why no one stopped me. But your intention was still to steal the steak.
No, it wasn't. I was even saying at the time that I didn't think it was doxing.
And the intent does matter.
Talks about his wife a lot, yes, that's why I thought the first name was given out by him, which I still think it was. I just need to look through the fucking calls. Because I know me. I know what I did look at and what I didn't look at. And that was a part I could never, like, fully figure out. If I looked at his Kiwi Farms thread, I'll absolutely say that I did, right? But I unironically think the only time we might have even peered, if I could guess, was, like, on stream, on one monitor, and I announced, okay, I don't really like using this, but we're checking, and then I was like, yeah, this fucking thing's like a pain in the ass. See, I don't use Kiwi Farms. Until after the fact, when I was trying to trace the origin of specific allegations. He proudly displays his address, right? So I knew they never considered this dox information, and
Lai doesn't talk about his wife. Lai brags about his wife all the time. It's not all the time. I think
my wife is literally a joke. He talks about his wife so much.
I think the most Lai was talked about his wife was probably during that drama, probably in defense of her. And I will say as well, like, the reason Laio's wife even became real...
Why is your wife even becoming a part of dramas? Like, I consider my family stuff dox info, so I wouldn't want to bring my family into dramas.
Of course, during the 2024 drama, was leaked messages from Peaches that Kumo shared with me that I then read on stream where Peaches was bitching about her.
Thank you for the 10, Kilo. I'm going to start spreading propaganda for you. Within 2 years, the prevailing narrative will be that Laio unironically, yes. I only am doing all the work because, and I said this, I went off on Missy the other day, and this is, I'm sorry about this, okay? I don't know if she's still here. But there were, like, people being like, Aiden, you're minimizing. I sort of am. And the reason that I am is because I was, like, self-flagellating for months, and there was a false, exaggerated narrative. So to get to the accurate narrative is probably going to involve some minimizing defenses, right? Because the broader claim is wildly exaggerated. So obviously there's going to be minimization that comes as a result of that. And far more people go and call out the perceived minimization than the overt exaggeration. And it's like I'm a one-man army sometimes. But I'm kidding. Didn't you dox Duck Swinger? Yeah, I doxed Duck Swinger.
That was probably the most attention she got.
I was almost certain he'd given out info, like a ton of info about his wife at the time, right? No, I get why it looks like minimizing. I get why you look like it's minimizing, but the truth of the matter is this is not a new drama. And at this point, my interest in this drama is trying to fight the exaggerated narratives. So most of what I say on it is going to be like minimizing as fuck. The
Go back and see that, right? The workplace is still listed on the public-facing account that voluntarily
I think
interacts with
minimizing
Lyocon.
maybe implies like unfair reduction of the perceived wrongdoing. I believe that like the minimizing as I'm using it, it would be fair, substantiate about by what accurately occurred.
Convoy remained up. Is the Lyo Convoy Facebook like a... No, it's a brand Facebook. According to Gilded Poo, Lyo's personal friend and associate. And Lyo's not disputed that. It was his brand Facebook under the name Lyo Convoy. And his brand is also his real full legal name as well. Assuming, let's say that was personal, which it wasn't. I think the two might be the same. I think he uses the Lyo Convoy account. Like, I don't think he has a like, he uses the Lyo Convoy Facebook to do personal and content stuff. But he goes, but I'm not doxing him by his name. He gives it out proudly. It's not doxing him of his full legal name. I won't say it anyways because I don't want to give these people fucking anything to use, right?
I think part of the problem as well is so much of, like, I don't know, it's like, I'm trying to think of examples without naming specific instances when people have been doxed. Like, ultimately, what doxing is, let's just be realistic about this, and we'll use Rowan as an example, is using what information we have about somebody, however tangential or however close, to create links in somebody's life, so you can turn around and go,
yes, this was the definition. Yes, Beckett agrees with my definition. Okay, so Beckett would disagree. This is the definition that I gave to Queeman, and Queeman's like, nobody use your stupid fucking definition or whatever. But this was the definition I gave at the time. I would say, and I said this during the camera and stuff, doxing is when you link personally identifying information to a public-facing, typically anonymous or relatively anonymous online persona, right? In regards to, like, the anonymous would be this information was not previously linked to the persona. So if that's what Beckett agrees the definition is, then this wouldn't be doxing per his own definition because they linked themselves to the information. She voluntarily on the Facebook identified herself as being Lyo's wife, was addressing the trolls on the public Facebook, which is still public, and then on his Lyo Convoy public-facing Facebook, he was interacting with her. They linked this themselves.
this is who this person is, this is where this person, like, is situated, this is information that can be used in a malicious manner about them. And probably everyone has some hole in their OPSEC somewhere, no matter how careful you are. And this is why people will do checks, like, or get somebody to externally check how easy it is to actually identify them from their anonymous accounts. So, like, it's a dangerous road to go down to be like, well, it's linked through this thing, because look,
the info Lyo gives about his wife, he loves her and finds her attractive. Incorrect. Incorrect. In my 6-month-long efforts to figure out what was public, what wasn't, and why I believed it was public at the time, I found he doesn't just give out, he doesn't just say that he loves her. He talks about her relative to the shitters that are involved in drama with him, like talking about who was rude to his wife and who wasn't, right? Like when he takes in like a mentally ill young adult and they behave like a mentally ill young adult, and he's like, they weren't talking to my wife during Thanksgiving or something, right? He gives out her occupation on a regular basis. He gives out her age. He's described her appearance in detail. And then when Kumo used a photo of her, he said on a public stream, that's my wife. What else is he giving out? Her address, like...
Look, I've known Lyo now for 2 years. I didn't even know he had a fucking Facebook. Like, do you know what I mean? It's like, it's not...
The 2 seconds of research would have figured this out. All you're telling me is that you went and ran with allegations against me and you didn't even make the most minimal effort of doing research. Like, these are very serious allegations, right? And you mean to tell me you ran with these allegations and you didn't even establish that he has a fucking Facebook? What is this incompetence? What level of research did you even do before going and running with this so strongly?
Places where you think to look for something or, like, go to for information about somebody, and we should be careful about the standards there. And the problem is this is retrospective and it's ad hoc. Yeah. Again, I'm sort of mulling it a little bit. I don't know whether I'm being lighter because I don't think it's the main thing, and it was never, like, the real main thing that pissed me off about that entire.
Oh my god. He's doing what, just so anyone who was around for that drama, even if you were critical of me, I want you to say yes or no in chat, okay? All right? I just want to see how many of us are misremembering here. was the main claim not always that I allegedly doxed a man's wife? Was that not always the main claim? The main part of the drama? Was that not always the main part of the drama? I must be going insane. I must be going crazy, I guess. I was under the assumption that the main allegation was that I doxed a man's wife. Apparently it wasn't. I'm just finding this out. Apparently it wasn't.
A drama. But, like, I don't know, I view doxing, like, the act of doxing is actively going and gathering all this information with that intent. Most of this information had been made public
The intent to do what?
in other places.
Okay, it's this simple as well. So, because we had an influx, my regulars, like the IC people, hated that I covered the ACC. They thought it was coal. They would tell me as such. They did not like the LIO coverage. You can ask all of them, right? They didn't want to talk about it. They didn't want to hear about it. They wanted me to stop covering it. They would regularly say as such. There were people that joined my server that were tourists that just came because I was covering the ACC. So all of those people got put into their own chat. There was the ACC chat, and they were not moved into IC. That was its own separate invite-only thing. If the intent was to give this information out for the sake of harassment, why didn't I post it in the chat of people who had just joined to A-Log Lio? Why did I post it why did I post this in a chat of people who were so disinterested in this subject that they vocalized as such on a daily fucking basis?
And was handed to Aiden in this little fucking Discord chat.
No, it wasn't. Nobody in the fucking call. That's not even true. Other people in the call were joking, like when Lumpy Willie, the guy whose name on Twitter was Pedophile City, the guy who will like reply to you. Listen, this is what we're dealing with, okay? I'll be talking about like Ukraine and the Holodomor or something, and Lumpy Willie will reply, I disagree, and I'll be like, why do you disagree? And he'll be like, takes poop out of butt and starts munching on it. Delicious, or something. Lumpy Willie's bit was to say the most deranged, like unhinged shit possible to get that shock reaction, because that was the part of the Discord that it was permissible in. Nobody helped me with anything. They all hated this subject.
I think it's fine to be like it's spreading dox info. I don't know whether I think we argued about this in the call over this sort of like Facebook.
It's not even dox info. Dox info implies that the person themselves didn't voluntarily give it out and link that to the online persona that the dox would, be a part of, which isn't even true.
Rationalization. I'll leave it up to you guys to decide what you think. Great night with the 5. Aiden, I don't really think you were thinking, Aiden. This is one of the big things as well. I do think, like, again, Aiden said in this, like, he accepts that going after Lio's wife was wrong. I do think that is the worst part of this drama by absolutely fucking miles.
It was his brand account. According to Gilded Poo, Lio's current personal friend, the person that had original...
This is why more needs to be said about frickin' Goat. Listen, without going too hot on Goat, has Hidden just released a video on Goat, by the way? Somebody mentioned this to me. Is this true? Without going too far into it, it's also worth noting that basically nobody went after other people in that Discord. Nobody went after any of them. And there's probably a much stronger argument that the people in those Discords were feeding Aiden information. Dox Lio's wife.
What? Are we hearing this? Do I have any IC people that are watching? Are you hearing this? Is Ali Khan here? I want to get Ali Khan's reaction. So true, actually. So true. We're pinning it on them. Okay? It was Lumpy Willie that did it.
Wife is like, that's a far stronger argument than Aiden did. Hidden did make a vid on Goat. I might have a look. I'll see what I think. Interesting. Nice to see like Hidden actually making more content.
That had been one of my hardest critics at the time, who has now walked back the doxing claim. just like Beckett has, just like other people have, because you can't dox information that people voluntarily leave up and put on the internet. And after it's been made apparent that this information is up, etc., and they've decided to link it to their brand or the brand of the person which the associate, which I guess she doesn't have a brand, her husband, but voluntarily linked it to, and then when it's made clear to you that that's up and it's widely distributed in YouTube videos with upwards of 20,000 views, and you choose to leave it up, and you choose, and the
With upwards of 20,000 views. Okay, look. I'm happy to accept that Layo's wife's face is public. You could even make arguments that her first name is.
You didn't say that at the time. You didn't say that at the time. He was accusing me of doxing her face at the time. So why are you accepting that now? Because I found out that your mod disseminated in the 20,000 view video? Now we're accepting that? Were you just going to wait until now to accept that? Why didn't you say that at the time? This is not what they were saying at the time. At all. Like, at all.
You could make strong arguments, like from the YouTube videos, that her second name is.
What do I want? Ollie, he's implying that Icy was giving me the information to use.
Like her maiden second name, for example, rather than just like Convoy. But the big sticking point is the employment. Now, Aiden's argument for this, let me remind you.
The sticking point is the employment now. Okay, even J-Stock said that he could conceivably see how you could, like, just guess something like that. The best analogy, without giving away what she actually does, once again, is if I know somebody's a pharmacist and I'm doing a fake docs joke, which I've done many times on stream, and I say something like, how's your job at CVS going? You could accidentally get that right. Like, what I gave wasn't a specific workplace. It was a vague, giant apparatus employing upwards of fucking tens of thousands of people, right? But even if you don't believe me and you think I did give out her workplace and that wasn't a joke, okay? You think I actually gave out her workplace. Even then, that's not doxing. She has it listed on the profile publicly, like on the fucking cover page that Lyo interacts with on his Lyo Convoy public-facing Facebook. I'll give this to you right now. If you went and started publishing info about my family after I go and like if, as I said before, if I reply under my Aiden UG X account to some random woman and say, hey mom, how's it going? If you were to go and like use the bio and say, Aiden's mom lives in Arkansas or whatever for off of her bio, after I've on my public facing account replied to, you wouldn't be doxing her. You wouldn't be doxing her.
Was that he didn't know Lyo's wife's employment. He like made an educated guess and unfortunately was correct. That's been Aiden's argument throughout this entire thing. Now, you guys can make what you want about it. I'm happy to take it on fake. Like
you don't have to believe me on that. You don't. The argument doesn't change if you still don't accept that, right? The argument still doesn't change.
I guess that's what happened, and Aiden is like the unluckiest motherfucker on the planet.
It's not that unlucky. If you know, like the problem is to disprove this, I would have to tell you exactly what it was, and I'm not going to do that, obviously. But even the people who were critical of me, who I've gone through that with, when I've said what it was, they're like, yeah, I could see how you came up with that.
There is some information about what she does, and because of where she lives, she could probably...
Some information. No, she gives out her exact workplace on the public-facing account that Lyo interacts with, and she voluntarily interacts with back, and voluntarily identifies herself as his wife. Check inbox. Aiden put out the face, name, and work of someone's wife because Lyo wouldn't have a call with him. He's also the origin of the name and work becoming public. So that's a lie. That's a fucking lie. That's a complete, like just overt lie. Complete overt lie. Yeah, it is bookmarked. Amongst many. You have to remember, I've been in the trenches here, but it's just a total lie. Rome was doxxed in a tweet with 1.4 million views. These are obviously not the same. Oh, so he's doing the Destiny thing where you pretend, like, because a comparison is not one-to-one, it can't be compared. No, what matters are the relevant factors for the point you're trying to make. Do they exist in comparable scenarios in both frames of comparison? and in each instance, you know, are they negated by confounding variables, etc. But if they're not, right, and you're just like if I was to say, and you know, apples and oranges are apples are to oranges what lettuce is to asparagus, and it's like, but lettuce and asparagus are both vegetables. It's like, yes, the factor is the categorization of the food item. So apples and oranges are both fruits. Lettuce and asparagus are both vegetables. So the factor of the point applies in both instances.
An educated guess, but at the time, Aiden did not say her information is on Facebook. Right? That was not the argument. This drama would have gone very differently if that had been his argument. Right? Well, I agree doxing and spreading dox information is different in the moral sense. Too often people use the distinction to try and downplay how bad spreading dox info is. It is still bad to do. Yes, yeah. Again, the worst part of this is targeting a family member. How far are we stretching the choosing to leave up? Like, probably could find Aiden's home and family from what they left up. Doesn't mean it's okay to seek out in this.
It wouldn't be. But if I was replying on Aiden, I give you total permission. If on my Aiden Underground account, I go and reply to, I don't know, let's say there's a listing for my mom's house posted on X or something. I don't know why it would be posted on X. And I go and say, hey, that's my mom's house in the replies on my Aiden UG account. You have my full permission to post that. That wouldn't be doxing. I've just voluntarily given you that info.
But yeah, this is the thing. It's like, it's where your connection points are. Very few people are going to go to the extent of going, hey, you need to, like, I'm unfriending you on Facebook, or like, I'm not following you on Twitter. Because I know some content creators. They're like,
it's not just unfriending, it's straight up commenting under and straight up posting that they are the family member of this person, and then that person is commenting and arguing with people under their replies, and they're both like engaged in the complaint about the trolls or whatever it was they were arguing about.
Content creation profile on Twitter is like they've reused that.
Aiden, with your large friend group, is there one person who's 100% defending you right now? What large friend group are you talking about? Why does everybody like do this like weird thing where it's like, look at your friends, look at your friends are I use the term friend online in like more of a coworker sense, right? I'm not expecting, we don't run things like how things used to be run. Nobody's expected to come become my blind defender. You know, I would appreciate it if like somebody sees a lie about me or something, if they know it to be a lie, if they like corrected it, that'd be awesome. But there's no expectation of defense.
They're personal, basically. So I know somebody whose information is essentially public because they converted their personal Twitter into their streamer Twitter. So you can just internet archive. Like,
yeah, but that would be a tenuous involuntary link, not like the other question too is, are they consciously aware of the link they've created? And was it a purposeful decision? And in that instance, it wouldn't be. So even though you could go back and get that, if it's not if it's not widely known or whatever, and you go and find it off that connection when they've clearly intended to make it private, yeah, then that would be doxing.
Like, you can stumble across this stuff where, like, if you internet archive their tweets from years ago, you will find it under their real
I'm only on your side because your song Lio Convoy's Wife was a banger. Well, Beckett, apparently we can't tell if I'm joking or not. Apparently we can't tell if I'm joking or not. Oh, by the way, thank you, Queeman, for the raid. I know I'm covering like Cole right now, but we'll move on in a sec to the Ethan show.
Because that's what Internet Archive grabbed at the time. So if you're trying to see for deleted tweets, sometimes it can catch people. And it's like, well, that is your public Twitter that you've tied yourself to. And the fact that, it used to be, and was known as your first name. It's like, what?
Yeah, but no, but that's obviously an unintended byproduct. That's not an intentional link.
What's the line there? Now, my argument would be it depends like on a couple of factors and depends when things happened, right? I think once you have presented yourself under your real name as a streamer, then it becomes a much more murky topic. This is like kind of what happened with you, Mama.
No, it's not murky. When I tell you my name is Aiden, that means you can call me Aiden and you're not doxing me. If I tell you, this account over here, that's my mom. You're allowed to identify that account as my mom. Right? If I go and tell you, because I'm voluntarily doing it.
Published stuff under her real name and linked it.
What is so fucking hard to comprehend?
That was like the defense of Demon Mum's real name becoming public. Because she'd already given her real name in her publications. Beckett the null clip has been tweeted at you. Thank you, Scotty. I'll have a look at that in a bit. Thank you.
Why take my word for it? Why take my word for it?
A lot of radiator comments today. Like, and it's like, hey, oh, did you get the kitchen knife? Murderer. Like, you'd be like, okay, well, idiot. If I said somebody,
Oh, this was the dumbest point ever. Okay, I need everyone to listen. I saw the clip already. This is the part that is ridiculous.
murder this person while they're chained to the, but you're in a call discussing. Look, the problem is you can be like, it's shock humor, but you're in a call discussing Lyo's wife's details. The problem with it is, it's kind of like saying, oh yeah, if I said to somebody, murder this person, that would be like shock humor. If I said to somebody, murder this person while they're chained to a radiator in their basement, God, we've got a lot of radiator comments today. Like, and it's like, hey, oh, did you get the kitchen knife? Murderer. Like, you'd be like, okay, well, that's less of a joke then.
No, it isn't. That is not less of a joke. If anything, under why we find shock humor funny, the more specific it gets, the more it is perceived as a rule violation, and, you know, benign violation theory. The more it's perceived as a rule violation, while simultaneously being perceived as safe because you know it's a joke, and the more likely it would be to be found funny by people who enjoy shock humor. How does getting specific make it not what it is? It's like, you know, when you make a joke about a dead baby, that's one thing. But when you say you've got a sack of 100 dead babies in your garage, that's less of a joke. No, it isn't. That's a total fucking non sequitur. No, it isn't. What are you talking about? You can absolutely get specific in jokes.
That's not edgy humor. That's directly in relation to the thing you're talking about, right?
So it can't be edgy humor if it's directly in relation to the thing you're talking about. So, like, when people are replying to, when people, like, on this side used to be like KRD to the people they didn't like, they were being serious because it was directly related to people they legitimately didn't like.
It's not like coming out of nowhere. I mean, I don't know why Aiden is making this defense. The defense is really simple.
The defense of I was joking, that I'm not actually a murderer? Why is Aiden refuting that he's a homicidal maniac? Why is Aiden disputing that he's a murderer? If you heard that and for a second believed that I was actually capable of doing that and I was being totally serious somehow, like in some fucking, you know, magical dimension, why didn't you report me, Beckett? You knew of a crime that was about to be perpetrated against an innocent woman. Why didn't you report me?
I was drunk in a call and Dickers was molesting me or something. I don't fucking know. But this, like, I don't know. It's right. See, like, the problem is, I said to Aiden, it's fine. You can tell people that I'll, like, walk back the doxing accusation and be like, yeah, it's spreading dox info.
Okay, so I'm just supposed to accept that I was being serious? That I actually wanted to...
Once again, it's like, to me, the least important part of this. The problem is, it gets into this, like, debate bro thing of, like, well, I actually did this thing, like, here's the justification.
How is this a debate bro thing to say I was joking? How is that a debate bro thing? Why not ignore it at this point? It's this simple. I cover drama. This is drama that's being litigated against me, and it pertains to me, and I'm therefore knowledgeable on it. So obviously I'm going to cover it, because it's literally what I cover. Why wouldn't I cover those?
Don't justify. Just be like, yeah, no, I fucked up. It's whatever. I've moved on. I'll never do it again. These were really fucked things to say. I obviously had the intention to pressure Lyo into a call through targeting his wife. That's it. That's the address.
Okay, if that's what I was looking to do with that entire exchange, why didn't I do it in a place that they, like, why didn't I do it in a place that they were guaranteed to see it? Why was it being conducted in a locked invite-only Discord chat with a no leaks rule? If the intent was to bring that up for the sake of pressure in that instance.
That's the acknowledgement. Like, I won't do that again.
There's some jokes I made publicly that you could maybe argue were trying to apply pressure, for sure. But not anything there.
I'm a dick. Cool. Awesome. Based. Done.
Like that is a violation of a social rule, but understand it's a joke and therefore perceive it as safe and find it funny, which is why everyone was laughing, right? Because it was in a space in my server explicitly intended for shock humor and edgy humor. When I actually got pressed on this in a serious context at the time, which is publicly verifiable, anyone can index this and prove that I'm lying if I am, which I'm not, right? I said at the time this was not doxing. I've repeated that. I say that now. The whole argument is just laid out here. He had no response. He had no rebuttal.
See, like it's like the essay stuff, like the accusation that like Aiden was threatening to essay Lyo's wife. You can be like, that's probably a joke. Like he's probably like, again, there's nothing in Aiden's, I don't know, existence that would suggest that he would ever rape Lyo's wife. But the doxing stuff is much harder to read.
That's probably a joke. If I'm being charitable to Aiden, that could be a joke. possibly. Holy fuck, holy shit, man. Holy shit. It's just like, it's actually insane.
No, it's like you can't just be like, well, everything that
Like, there's a possibility to you that I was actually intending to go and do what the subject of the joke was.
was a joke. You clearly were like talking about her information.
Anyways, I hope that addresses everyone's concerns.
It's not something you should be
correct on that. That
debating.
wasn't disputed. So at this point in the conversation,
Why
Watched
come up again?
before this.
it's still sweeping for the person who's already doxing Wick. The person, it's not. I'm sorry. You think it's doxing? If, let's say, for example, would it be doxing? Okay, let's say two people who both trust one another with private info, and neither of them have respectively leaked the other's private information, and both know each other. Let's say those people are concerned about an instance of doxing that's occurred, and they want to verify that it has happened. If one party sends logs to the other under the understanding that it will not be disseminated, which it wasn't.
All right, is this it? I think that's it.
Not from a stream where the streamer in question shared their email address, which I don't think is doxing, if I'm honest. I don't
Wait,
think
what did you just say? What did he just say?
because I've been told what the second instance of quote-unquote doxing in that server was, which was a screenshot from a stream where the streamer in question shared their email address, which I don't think is doxing.
Okay, so if they accidentally... So what it's okay, so if they... Okay, I even think that's doxing if it's clearly accidental, and they take it down, and you go and then archive it, and then start spreading it around. Okay? I actually think that would be doxing. But he doesn't. He thinks even when you establish an accidental link, in this context, it isn't doxing. So what the fuck were you talking about?
If I'm honest, I don't think any of us would call it doxing.
His ass is sore from having a fucking fence post up it all day. You're right.
Otherwise, Bo Blacks was doxed. No one's held that standard. It seems absolutely fucking mental. Go and take the fucking screenshot, crop whatever information is like in it or whatever, and put it on fucking Twitter and let people assess this. God, this drama's so fucking gay and frustrating. The problem with dropping like everything in selective little pieces is either each bit gets
All right,
distributed.
this is all right. More like what I really need is Beckett's take on the Snark Left server. That's what I needed that. All right, so Anthony Fantano has apparently made a video on the Ethan Klein lawsuit. Let's take a look.
To all the detractors who are saying that I'm targeting women, that I'm a hypocrite for suing for copyright infringement, I just have this to say. I don't care. What I do hope, though, is that you'll support their crowdfunding efforts to defend themselves. Because let's face it, I want to make sure there's money left over for me when I win my lawsuits.
I don't really want to say too much here because I truly don't have to say too much. And I don't like to spend, a whole lot of time on the internet directly going at, in a very dramatic way, other creators. It's like the purpose of my platform for the most part, even though I do like to kind of shit on right wingers and, total pieces of garbage on the internet who I think make the music community worse. When it comes to like the broad content creator sphere, unless somebody's like, just being completely wrong-headed about some music or talking about me or just being like a real fucking idiot, I like to keep mostly quiet and just like kind of chill. And I don't pay attention to a whole
By
lot
the
of
way, if
streamers.
you guys want to help us hit Streamly Goal, a great way to support us is to tip through Streamlabs, Super Chat, all that good stuff. Another great way to help us out is to like if you haven't already.
To begin with, across the board. But I feel like what just happened here needs to be discussed because it's a very broad issue that affects all content creation across the internet. But what seems to have happened, thankfully, is Denim's. I stream, but I don't consider myself like, a hardcore streamer, but I'll say fellow streamer, Denims.
Fantano is a Hassan fan, disgusting man. So true.
Just got a tentative ruling in the lawsuit.
Wait, is this? Oh, wait, he's talking about. Okay.
Leveled against her by Ethan Klein.
True.
Of the H3H3 podcast. Now, I don't want to spend, this little rant here and this talk kind of getting into the nitty gritty of the content nuke and Ethan's psychosexual obsession with Hassan and iDubbbz and Anissa and a host of other things about the whole situation. I just particularly find weird. Are there elements of these dynamics that Ethan genuinely feels like, you know, burned about and pissed off about? Like maybe, possibly, I feel like I don't know enough about these interpersonal relationships, again, on a personal level, to really comment on.
Let me guess. Aiden is against Ethan's lawsuits because Israel is somehow to blame. No, I'm against Ethan's lawsuits because if implemented or successful, a lot of them would set horrible precedent for everybody else, and many of them are just built off of, the recent one especially, specifically, is built off of a flawed premise, and is being conducted in bad faith.
On that front, what pisses me off about
it's built off of a lie, I should say. My bad. It's built off of a fucking lie.
the whole thing, and what makes this tentative ruling in Denham's favor about all of this, what makes me happy about this with joy, is like, look, no matter what problem you have with any of these people, personally or politically, whatever, you cannot be using this as an opportunity to destroy internet content creation.
No, they're totally okay. Like anything, like despite like whatever they've said previously about free speech, despite all their bitching and whining about free speech, when it's like some fucking woman in England calls for like people to start like genociding migrants and she gets like arrested for that, they'll cry about free speech all day. But when Hassan is completely barred from speaking in the country for holding a political opinion, when the reality is, right, if you have prestigious universities, etc., those should be places for academic debate and discourse conducted in an appropriate manner. And if you're barring people in general for having the wrong opinion, you're completely removing that opportunity. But, like, yeah, support for Hilo is pivotal. I agree.
And reaction content, commentary content. I don't care how up your own ass.
Wow, so are we just going to ignore how much good H3 did for DMCA? Nice try, buddy.
You are. I don't care how psycho you are. I don't care how demented or mentally ill you are. You cannot be using your millions of dollars, and you cannot be using your platform to sue and go after other creators simply for the sin of reacting to your content, good or not, and having your own thoughts and opinions about it that you don't like. There are lots of people who comment on and talk about my content. Are there situations in which I would maybe take legal action if those comments happen to come from a defamatory place and it was like all out, like complete lies or whatever? I mean, sure, but that's a different thing than going after somebody just merely for reacting to your content and making the claim that it was stealing. Making the claim that this person is stealing from.
Yeah, we all know the reason. He basically decides to act first and finds the reason afterwards. So he's not actually suing any of these people, obviously, because he believes they've stolen his content or because he believes that all the Denham's fans were going to go watch him had Denham's not reacted. He's doing it because he does not like the opinions they have, and he's finding the excuse afterwards to engage in consequential litigation at their expense to punish them for having these opinions. Not because the grievances that are expressed as the primary, premise behind the nature of the lawsuits are actually things that he believes or cares about.
You by reacting to your content, bro. That is literally how you got started on the internet, dude. You literally had your own fair use lawsuit about this same shit.
The undisputed purpose of the defendant's live stream is to contest, criticize, and mock the plaintiff's message, which the courts have found weighs in favor of fair use due to its transformative nature. And they even proceed to cite Ethan Klein's case.
That's the
I feel bad and I regret ever having platformed you and had you on my own channel on a podcast.
I mean, you didn't do anything wrong by platforming
and pushed people in your direction.
So that's a bit of
overcorrection. Because you turned around and ended up doing this. And again, I'm not even talking about whatever sort of like political or ideological sort of, disagreements you may have with these individuals or that I may have with you. That's not what I'm talking about at all. I'm talking about you're literally using your platform and literally using these petty disagreements, your own emotions that you're so tied up in this situation to destroy the very industry that we all operate within because you're mad that you're getting criticized. Are some of those criticisms unfair? And are they coming from like weird terminally online psychos that are on Reddit or this platform or that platform? Yeah, I'm sure some of them are. I deal with those types of people too all the time. But to be going after other streamers for commenting on your content.
Wait, what is that? Hold on. What is this? I've been trying to warn y'all about Nicholas Diorio since 2020, but y'all didn't listen. I'm glad finally you see it. Oh, I forgot Rose DM'd me a threat. Hey Aiden, I don't know if Himpleton told you, but I gave one stipulation to anyone reacting to my video. Do not comment on my appearance, and you broke it. Constructive criticism is always welcome, but at some point, it crosses a line where it just becomes personal attacks / bullying and stops being about the video itself. I'm not trying to be an asshole, and the last thing I want to do is make commentary mad at me. Since I kind of just want to be left alone at this point, all I'd ask, if you could either A, unlist the VOD, it can remain in the livestream VODs playlist, or B, cut out the segment with my video in it using the YouTube studio. I understand that the entire VOD has lots of content that isn't related to me, and I don't want that content to be lost, or as a result of this, as that seems unfair to you. That's why I'm proposing multiple solutions which consider this, and you could do whatever works best for you and your stream, because I genuinely do want to resolve this peacefully. That's why I made sure to state my terms beforehand. I would have messaged you about this before, but you didn't really warn me that you were going to be streaming this. I told Himpleton that these terms applied to everyone reacting to the video. I made it clear to him because I wanted him to know that I wasn't specifically targeting him or retaliating him, and I meant that. That's not the purpose of this. Maybe you weren't aware, and that's fine. That's why I'm reaching out to you about it now, and that we can find a way to resolve this fairly in a way that all parties can be satisfied with. To be clear, I'm not assuming bad faith. I'm just sharing my perspective here. I hope you understand and can find it in your heart to do the right thing. Thank you. P.S. Please don't read this message on... Oh, okay. I'll make you a deal, Rose. I'll make you a deal. Right? I applied the same logic to Spawn Dial. If you want to quit the internet and go pursue some real life shit, I'll take down the VOD. Okay? But if you're going to be a figure that exists publicly online, the VOD's staying up because you sign up for that. Okay? That you have to, like, this is something you have to deal with if you want to be a public online creator. So, I will take it down if you quit the internet. I will take it down if you leave the internet. It's easy. Total deal. So that's a term that's respectable to me.
And if this lawsuit ended up going in Ethan Klein's favor, effectively would have destroyed the business model of anybody and everybody doing the same exact thing. Reacting to other content, commenting on other content, transformatively critiquing and pulling apart other content that would have created such an ugly, horrible, just destructive, slippery slope. And you did.
Wait, what is apparently Mr. Repsion is showing up to, I don't know any of the Firebat lore. I gotta be honest with you. I don't know any of the Firebat lore. But I'm being told, sources are just telling me, that allegedly Mr. Repsion went to this person's church. What is going on? I don't know anything about that drama, and it's just, like, filled with, like, just everything about it is so degenerate. The person involved seems degenerate, obviously, but then, like, everybody covering it has, like, completely imploded or, like, cannibalized themselves, or just, like, been shown to be, like, as embarrassing as whoever it is they're covering at that given point in time. Like,
over some bullshit.
Rose needs to log the fuck off, to be honest. She could do editing or whatever. Listen, one of my biggest criticisms of the internet is that it memorializes people's mistakes for all of time. I believe if somebody maybe regrettably tried to be a public individual and then wants to become a private individual later on, depends on what they did and the nature of the coverage, but I'll try to support that in any way I can if that's what they're looking to do. But if you are a public figure and continue to want to exist as such, I am not going to make efforts to revise or get rid of commentary of you just because it's too mean.
You did it over some stupid, mindless, petty, emotional, moronic bullshit. is literally all you did it for. You didn't do it for any other reason other than some petty, stupid bullshit. And I'm glad that Denims had it rule in her favor, not only because, you know, I like and respect Denims as a streamer, but this would have been bad for everybody making content on the internet if this had ruled in Ethan's favor.
Agreed. By the way, just to preface this, I fucking hate Anthony Fantano. I despise him. I don't really know why, but I just really hate him. It just comes off sometimes such a fucking pretentious, like he was watching this clip. Like, I'm not a big, like, I don't listen to a lot of rap, right? I understand why people do listen to it. It's just not my, like, it's not the, I mean, I like some of it, but it's not, mostly not my, like, main genre or my thing, right? But I can understand, for example, like, this, like, Los Pollos Hermanos guy, whatever the fuck his name is, he, like, was listening to some, like, fucking, like, alternative, like, his main thing is rap, it seems like, and he was listening to some, like, alternative, like fringe band or something, and he didn't like it after 2 seconds, and Anthony Fantano was, like, on his high horse, like, you know, you don't understand the complexity, and no, it's just the guy has preference, right? He just has preference. Music is, your preference in music is shaped by numerous things, including your respective, you know, socializing factors and development, right? And he just doesn't like it, and that's fine. That's fine if he listens to music that, you know, I don't particularly like.
So I'm just coming on here and just celebrating this W, not for anyone's sake other than all of us.
Aiden won't repair her reputation. No, I mean, if somebody, I said I've been across the board on this, depending on what you did, right? But I respect if somebody decides they tried to do this shit, they didn't make it, and they want to go live a private life. If you want to do that, we can work something out, right? But the problem is, it seems when it's a case of somebody who wants to be a public figure and intends to exist as one and continues to exist as one, I'm not going to take down criticism of you just because it's mean. That's something you have to contend with if you want to be a public figure. You can't assume all the benefits and none of the risks.
Because if you like this stream, if you like the content of any person on the internet where they are reacting to a video or talking about somebody else's...
I'm not like a archive bro, where it's like, but I need to archive. Or no, it's like, I understand, like, if it serves no interest, no public interest, etc., and it's just going to hurt you while you want to go pursue a private life, I'll work with you, right? This is what I was saying about the Spawn Dial shit. Like, he was trying to go get a job in real, or an internship in real life, and he said some edgy shit when he was 17 on this old archived live stream VOD that nobody watches or cares about, and all he asked was that his face is temporarily blurred in the VOD for the duration of his application for an internship. This VOD served no public interest, and his face served no public interest, so I didn't think that was a big deal, right? But, like, his friend went and blew that up, and he's like, this guy is trying to get rid of archival integrity. And it's like, no, your nobody friend wants some nobody shitter VOD obscured temporarily so he can go get a fucking internship. He's not like a YouTuber. He doesn't want to exist as a public figure. It's like, that's like retarded.
Video or talking about some other piece of content somebody made and incorporated clips or incorporated a snippet here, a section there, or, you know, reacting to a full video.
I gotta stop saying that word, by the way. Remind me. Sleepy's right to cut it out of his vocabulary. I think it's a justifiable word to use, but the world hasn't caught up yet. And if it's gonna alienate people from my message, I gotta cut it out.
On a stream, it would have been fucking donezo. It would have been donezo. Like, it would have set legal precedent that would have allowed any other content creator to go after a streamer, go after a YouTuber, monetarily.
By the way, we're halfway to Streamly Goal. If you want to support us, and you can, as always, the option is there. You could tip through Streamlabs and Super Chat. You can also join my Discord server, interact with me, call in if you disagree with me, post shit in my inbox that I'll look at before and possibly during streams. And another great way to help us out is to leave a like. It's free, it's easy, it's simple. It helps us out.
Have this video, that video, this other thing pulled down, taken down. And look, we're already dealing with a litany of that every week when it comes to movies and music. And
yeah, I've never sexted anyone. I've literally never sexted anyone in my life.
These massive corporations that like throw their weight around online and make it difficult to pull apart any content coming out of the mainstream these days. We don't need to be doing it from content creator to content creator. It's complete bullshit. So look, if you consume any content like this, you enjoy any content like this, you need to be aware of this lawsuit. You need to be aware of this rule.
True, it's important. This guy is trying to, this maniac, it wasn't just fear-mongering when people said this was just going to get worse. It is getting worse. It is getting worse. Right? This maniac wants to sue everybody off the platform.
And you need to be sharing it, and you need to be like celebrating it, because we really did genuinely, like, I mean, I feel like if you had two brain cells to rub together and, you know, you already saw sort of like previous, sort of like rulings in regards to fair use law, like as long as Denims was willing to sort of like put up a legal fight, chances were it wasn't going to go in Ethan's favor. But there were other...
Give Aiden your tip. That is not becoming the new plug slogan, okay? Give Aiden... Dad.
Were two other people who we pressured here legally who were not able to withstand the prolonged fees and all of that shit, who, I feel very bad and I feel very sorry for. Ethan was happy to sort of like harass legally out of house and home almost, because it became so expensive to continue fighting him with lawyers. And I've been in this situation recently too. I mean, not over a copyright thing, with that douchebag Ronnie Radke. I spent tens of thousands of dollars to get that W, only to get paid, my legal fees, but it was like, I still ended up spending more money in the long run on all that. It was still a complete fucking waste of my time. Was, stressful to at least some degree, obviously.
Do you want to try? Okay. Aiden's, I'm not interested. Aiden's raper. I gotta be honest with you. Thanks for the offer.
Not as stressful as it was, I'm sure, for the loser who lost. So, I mean, I've been in these situations before, and I know how scary and weird and freaky it can be to have like a complete psychopath and weirdo going after you with like these seedy, shitty, no moral having, garbage, ambulance chasing, shithead lawyer freaks who will literally agree to do anything so long as you pay them to do it. I know that feeling.
That's true. That's true. I would be a lawyer if I didn't have to become like a soulless like vampire. I mean, I kind of already am. But...
It's not very good, and I absolutely commend Denims for putting up the legal fight that she needed to in order to get this ruling and get this to where it needed to be, because Denims deserves really truly like some accolades for doing this, because her withstanding this and bringing it to this point and defending herself inadvertently, secondarily is
she
really
defended herself against a bully. Okay, you know what? I like everyone here. Everyone's like so invested in this because they like seeing the bullied become the bully, get his revenge or whatever. I like that too, and that's why I don't support Ethan, and why I support Denims. I don't know shit about Denims to like or dislike her, but it is nice to watch the bullied win.
Like a public service.
You could be an activist lawyer. If I ever did law, I would want to work for the Innocence Project. I'd probably be volunteer, right?
Service to all of this, because had this ruling gone in Ethan Klein's favor, or had she folded and allowed Ethan to run roughshod over her just for reacting to the content nuke that he did, this would have meant that, again, it would be more difficult for other content creators to do this sort of thing. To do exactly what I'm doing, to do exactly the sort of content that I'm sure you guys...
Thoughts on Chubbs? Dude, bringing up 10-year-old drama, literal 10-year-old drama. Yeah, man, that guy sucks.
Back to other creators do on the internet, other creators doing, whether they're talking about politics, whether they're talking about movies, whether they're talking about whatever piece of content they're pulling apart or commentating on. Yeah, poor Casey Tron had to do a hostage video apology toward Ethan.
And that's not even exaggerating. She looks like she's being held hostage in that shit.
She was being held at gunpoint on the internet, which is fucking crazy. Yeah, shout out to the Anthony Fantano in San Diego.
Are you Italian? Not really. I have like a small trace percentage. I grew up around a lot of Italians, and so did my family and shit. So I'm sure there was a lot of Italian American influence, I guess you could say, for a while. I went to more like communions than I did bar mitzvahs.
Yeah, no, H3 weaponizing the copyright system because of political reasons is fucking pathetic. Again,
I
we
had like 5 friends growing up named Vincent.
came so close to like shit being completely burned to the ground because
Bro wants to be Italian so badly. I like I don't I'm okay with what I am. I like it. I like Italian culture. And you don't need to be a part of it to participate in it or enjoy it.
this moron
When I was growing up, we'd go to the Feast of San Gennaro in the city. All my favorite food is Italian food.
had to take something that is so vital to all of our content
And I have a lot of Italian family through marriage.
and burn it all down and essentially say like, well, I'm taking my ball and going home because you made a piece of content talking about my content.
I don't like spaghetti. I don't like the texture of spaghetti. I like my favorite pasta. I like tagliatelle or yeah, no, I like tagliatelle is probably my favorite shape. When I was in Italy, I had it. It was like in like truffle oil and shit. It's so fucking good.
Content that I don't like. Fuck you. Again, shout out to Denims, and I'm glad that it blew up in Ethan's face and that everybody got to witness it. And really, like, 15K likes and 600 retweets on this is shockingly low. Like, there should be way more people open.
I mean, I'd eat spaghetti. It's just not my favorite. It like kind of reminds me of like worms. I don't know. I read this Goosebumps like book growing. Do you guys remember those? Remember those? Back in my day, I used to, and it was like about like, that's when I stopped liking spaghetti. It was this whole thing about worms or whatever. And I created this like association in my mind. And like, I can't not think of that when I eat it. You know what I mean?
Celebrating this because we really truly did just like dodge a fucking bullet. And the precedent that Ethan's last lawsuit along fair use lines, the precedent that set, he literally just tried to burn it to the ground over some personal petty shit, which is just, again, ridiculous. And it's crazy to sort of like see the contrast between then and now in terms of like this man's public perception and optics. Like when he originally won that last lawsuit, he was a hero to the internet because he allowed for there to be sort of this like, open and normalized discussion and engagement with, sort of transformative content creation and reacting to other things online that has become the standard. And now you're trying to rip it away from everybody because you're pissed off over some personal shit.
True. And it's not like all of this is not being like the other thing. It's just like obvious. Like, I don't even know how you're going to argue that any of this is being conducted because he cares about the nature of what he's suing for. It's an excuse to use the legal system to resolve his personal grievances, which is something that should obviously be discouraged. Why am I watching Fantano? Because he's talking about the Ethan Klein lawsuit. How you get that vape, bruh? How old are you? I'm 21, but I was vaping before. What I didn't do before I was 21, I would not illegally buy alcohol. I'd drink if like I was at a party or something and it was there, but I never had a fake or anything. When I got nicotine before 21, I would just have people, I'd find someone to buy it for me, or there was a website I found where they did an idea.
I'm sorry, but it's just stupid as fuck. So shout out to Denims. If you are, still on the Bird app, as satanic and as awful as it is, I do recommend that you go on here and give her some congratulations.
True. Her victory is a victory for Snark. Okay, she won in the ring, and this was the beginning of should be the beginning of the end. But now with this new iDubbbz shit, like, it's not even a question anymore. Aiden, I know that Chubb's stuff was a decade ago, but he don't suck no more. He's changed now. But it's good to see you. I'm not. I was joking. I don't think he sucks. Or what? I haven't. It's just like a 10-year-old drama that I'm completely disconnected from. So I don't really have a whole lot to say about it. You just admitted to committing a crime. I did. Actually, in California, it is not a crime to be in possession as a minor of tobacco. The crime would be in the purchase, I believe. Well, which I guess I also admitted to, so never mind. I'm going to prison. My ass is going to prison. Can't believe they got streamers younger than me. I'm on now. Well, I'm so used to being the like the youngest that the fact that I interact with people online that are younger than me is like, you know, is bizarre to me. Are you scared to debate Destiny ever again? No. Anytime, any subject he's looking to speak about on anything, let me know and we will have that debate, conversation, etc. I am totally willing, right? I don't run from debates. When I was in high school, they had a designated smoking spot. Okay, holy unk. Holy fucking unk. Can you admit you lost all previous debates? No? At what point did the loss happen? Hey, does your apartment get random bugs when it rains? I hate it when it rains. Roaches get in? Not roaches. I find spiders sometimes, like every so often. Every so often there's spiders in here. I don't mind spiders. I just move them outside. Hold on. What the fuck was I looking for? The spiders are healthy. I know. Aiden, you even admitted the server was doxing people. No, not the server. An individual had reposted someone's PII within that server and it wasn't caught, right? The claim was that it was a doxing server. The example they found is from a year ago. If it was a doxing server, as the claim would denote, why is the example from a year ago and it just looks like poor moderation that wasn't caught? No worries. I'm mates with the guy. I had a peek at his old content. I seen, yeah, people overreacted there. He just didn't pay me $150. Like, and I know that's like a, you know, but at the time, like that did not deserve. Like, it should have ended when he paid me back, right? And he did pay me back eventually. So, you know, he did a dick thing or whatever. But like, that was super overblown, and that was mostly Keem's fault because Keem had like a personal grudge with him at the time. White Too Mad is a goated name. Dude. This is the... I know I'm doing like the Aiden stereotype where it's like, hey, I knew this guy. The weirdest thing to me is when I see the tweets of like Too Mad like adding me and shit. Like someone like... People like occasionally dig that up and like ask me about it. Because he's like, when his allegations dropped, he's adding me. And he's like, add Aiden knows like the girl's whole story. And it's like... And it was like, it was like, he was just like, it was impossible to fucking reason with him back then. Holy shit. I remember, because I was friends with this guy called Jamie Pine. And I remember, getting a video call from him one day. And I picked up, and there was, Jamie's white, okay? And the guy that picks up on the other end, he's black. And like, it's like some, no hair, like blackout glasses or whatever. And I was like, you look like a little bit different, Jamie. And that was how I met Too Mad. He just, I guess, was on his phone or something. Okay. You should try to have a conversation with... Good one. Watching the full clip from last night's stream. Yeah, that was dog shit, Lamafau. I wouldn't... Wait, did Smaggle unblock me? Oh. What the fuck, Smaggle? Watching the full clip from last night's stream, yeah, that was dog shit, Lamafau. I wouldn't want Nick to give an apathetic stance, but at least show some emotion and don't make it seem like you suddenly don't care about the legal ramifications of the lawsuit. True.
I mean, you guys know my position on this. I think this is more recent iDubbbz before
Whoa.
now being sued by Ethan Klein. We're gonna go over some brief, more recent iDubbbz before we check out Nick Nobody's video. And obviously, I mean, you guys know my position on this.
Aiden and Lyrics score. Me and Lyrics were so close to having our own show, and in Lyrics' prime and that would have been fire. We had a logo made for it and everything. He downplayed how on board he was after the fact.
I think this is fucking stupid. I think this is just entirely spite driven, and it doesn't really make any sense to me to do. But whatever, that's the direction he's going in. I give the disavowal or whatever that
I give this is like the Casey Trot. He's like being held hostage to give it. No shit that there's something wrong here. No shit, but you have to denote why is he doing this? This is blatant sweeping. He knows exactly what he's doing. This isn't like Nick really disappointed me by chance, not giving a strong condemnation of this. No, this is all part of the plan. This is on purpose. He's gonna pivot from discussion of Ethan now that what he's doing is so indefensible. Like, it was indefensible before, but like now everyone else is seeing it. So now he's gonna try to pivot and jump ship. And I use the analogy of Mussolini trying to flee to as the Third Reich was falling. Mussolini tries to flee to the Alps, right? He didn't put EHD in the title today. It's just like, if the coverage makes the given person that you're trying to defend and obviously sweeping for look bad, you all of a sudden don't care anymore. It's Schrodinger's care. $36 minutes. Yeah, we're gonna save this one for tomorrow. I gotta go. Whoa, fuck. I gotta go, guys. I have shit I gotta do. But yeah, thank you. I know it's a shorter stream. We'll do a longer one tomorrow. Much appreciated, everybody. I'll see everybody tomorrow, probably. Take care. I do gotta run. Peace, peace.